Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Wazid. Good afternoon to you. Joycelyn Small White. Good afternoon. Joycelyn White, sorry. Margaret Thomas. Slimy Show. Greetings. Clinton Alain. Neil Francois. Always present. Jamoon. Jennifer Ashby. Anon. Sarah Richards. Proud to be Trini. Leonard Beans. Sharon Reddock. Judy King. Helen Farrier Trotman. Good afternoon to all of you. Gaylan Jackson, Diane Charles Idian, Patricia Batiste. I hear that, Slimy Show. I hear that. Pamela Moses, Ann Knives, Winston Jones, Dale Mitchell. Good afternoon, sir. Adarami. Pookie Gal. So good afternoon to all of you. It is 1:37. Running late. It was one of those Sundays. All right, just give me 1 second, folks. Right. So we are back on. So again, good afternoon to all of you guys, and what an interesting Sunday it is. You know, they say a year in politics, or a day in politics is like a year. What do you say for 8 months in politics is like, I don't know. So we had a lot of interesting things take place this past couple days. So permit me to jump into it. So the buzzword for today is increases. All right. And it seems like it's like every time you go on Facebook, social media, you see another story popping up of some other increase. But before I get there, before I get into that, so you know, this government is really shameless, for want of a better word. And they are just doing things without regard. They couldn't care less about you all. And in fact, some of their own supporters are asking if it is they're really interested in getting a second term or even completing a full first term, right? So let me get this one first. So while we were those of you who were familiar with the Sunshine Hour and who used to listen to 91.9, you all will be familiar with an individual by the name of Kingsley, right? Kingsley, who at one time was affiliated with the ILP. In fact, that is how I came to know Kingsley. And then when the ILP folded, well, after the general election of 2015, he was firmly in the camp of the PNM. He was promoting PNM. He used to call the radio station and talk about the PNM and Dr. Rowley and all of the great things that the PNM did and so on. And then, for some reason, he changed his tune. And he went back to joined up with the United National Congress. And he, like some others who, between 2014, March of 2014, when the Sunshine Hour started, to September 2015, and a little beyond, who used to promote the PNM. Because I remember there was a time when, even though the Sunshine Hour was an ILP program, you had PNM supporters who used to call in and, you know, say they would hope that in the 2015 general election that although they hoped the PNM would win, they were hoping that the ILP would form the opposition. And many a time, Mr. Hines would have come on the Sunshine Hour, even though he was PNM, and we would have had the privilege of interviewing other members of the PNM as well, then opposition, on the program. So, you know, Kingsley was a strong PNM at the time. And then there was another one who used to go by the name of Love in the House. Love in the House used to call in, and at first when the Sunshine Hour started, he used to good cuss us. Jack one had this and thing, and his PNM and Dr. Rowley And then he too changed his tune. So some of you would have gotten to know Kingsley over the years, right? And you know what Kingsley brings. Kingsley is known for being a little melodramatic, calling the station and start a crying down the place. Oh God, Aisha Wells, calling Aisha program and crying and all of that. Yeah? Real drama. So imagine my surprise when I saw, well, not really surprised. So I saw this week on Aisha Wells' Facebook page that she would have shown or posted a video with Kingsley in the studios of 91.1, not 91.9, 91.1, which is government radio station at TTT, announcing that effective January 5th, he is going to be a talk show host on a program that is going to run from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. every day. Yes, and he's being paid to do this because in the video, he held up a copy of his contract and talking about all the dollar signs and so on and whatnot and the like. And for those of you who know Kingsley, knows what Kingsley is going to bring. All right, this is not any, and no disrespect to the man, right? But you all know what Kingsley brings. He's unresearched, right? He brings it raw. And it's basically, he's been given a program where he is going to be paid with taxpayers' money to use government radio station to promote government propaganda, right? To promote government propaganda. This is a government radio station that belongs to all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But he has been recruited and being given a program to be paid to come and bad talk the PNM, more or less, and to promote the UNC. For years, I can recall, over the last 10 years, when Sharon Felix and Pastor Google 191.9, and then eventually the UNC started to infiltrate 91.9, which was predominantly a PNM station, right? In fact, you all would recall that is why I was unceremoniously dismissed from the radio station, because it was felt that I was jamming the UNC too much, that after they had the Monday night forum, I would come the following morning on Tuesday, because I was on Titans of Democracy Tuesday, Thursday, and a Sunday morning. And I would come Tuesday morning, bright and early, and replay parts of what would have been said by certain people on the Monday night forum and expose them as being damn liars, right? From the leader come down. And they didn't like that. And you would recall, they would have called the owner of the radio station and given him an ultimatum, said to him, look, this man, we can't be paying our money to broadcast our meeting on your station. And then the next morning, you have this man coming and basically dismantling what was said and jamming us. And he was given an ultimatum. We did have a discussion. In fact, there were a couple mornings when he would call, the owner of the station would call, not me, call Bruce. And ask Bruce, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so when we go to a break now, Bruce would say, but why the man calling me? You ain't doing nothing. I just playing what you asked me to play. So why you don't call you? You calling me and getting on with me. Right? So then he eventually did call me and he said, listen, remember people paying their money. So I ain't telling you can't talk and say what thing, but just don't play back nothing that they say and whatnot because they're paying for that. All right. So I would make reference to it, but I guess that wasn't satisfactory enough for them. And so they flex their muscle. And this, I'm not telling you any tales out of school. Iowa George would have done an interview with Julia Davy on her program, Juju Love, after I left the station, and he would have admitted to this. All right? So UNC infiltration of the station. And eventually, most people left. Sharon left, Bruce left, Google left, other them, Robert left. Yeah. And the station just went down. And notwithstanding the fact that for quite some time, Pastor Google, Sharon, and so on had been calling for, hey, put us on the government radio station. Nothing do it. PNM wouldn't do it. Would not do it. It wasn't until about a month or a month and a half before the general election that after Pastor Google and Sharon had left 91.9, that they both ended up getting programs on 91.1. And they were warned, as Pastor Google would have told me, to be very measured and very sedate in their discussions, that the liberty and freedom that they had on 91.9 to promote the government then and to jam the UNC, they did not have it. And this was an instruction that they would have gotten from management, right? And the PNM is in power. PNM is in power, but management at TTT is telling these two people, hey, well, I need to tone it down. See what else to do across the road? You can't come here and do that, right? So you want to discuss current affairs, but you need to be very measured in how you do it, okay? No bash, you can't be bashing the opposition too much and promoting the, right? About a month and a half before the general election. And right after the election was won by the UNC, they got rid of Google and they got rid of Sharon shortly thereafter. Now, a program has been created for Kingsley. Kingsley is going to be paid to do this, to spread government propaganda. And I understand as well that effective the 5th of January, the underground report that is now underground on some internet radio is supposed to also be coming back, because you recall they were there before. Between 2010 to 2015, they used to hold on the fort, I think, between 6 and 9, the three stooges, Andy Williams, Mikey Kay, and Lennox Smith. And then after them, you had a little break. After 3 hours and some of utter rubbish, utter garbage, trash and lies, you had a little 1 hour interregnum, and then you had Marcia Brave Boy used to come on, and then she used to take it till from 11 to whatever time, and do the same thing, follow up on what you were getting from them. So these three stooges have been underground, the underground report for the last how many years, and it is my understanding that they, just like Kingsley, apparently it is alleged, are also expected to come back on government radio to be paid with your taxpayers' money, right? To spread propaganda, government propaganda. I don't know how much it's going to help them. But let me get this here. So, give me 1 second.
Members, this is Kingsley. I now get the contract. I'm filling on the contract now. I'm going to be on 91.1 from January 5th, 2026. I'll be doing current affairs program. I'm doing talk show program. I've been talking about the issues, the what taking place in the country, entertainment on the whole. So remember, from January 5th, I'll be on the radio 911 from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Kingsley is going to be on the radio speaking issues. And you know I'm going to be very, very, very passionate about it. And so this is the contract here, as you can see. This is the money sign here. This is the figure. It will be excited. It will be excited. Please look out for me on 91.1.
See, the same thing they did between 2010 to 2015, using state-run media to push their propaganda. And we warned you all, or no? We told you all about it. But no, Kamala 2.0 is going to be different this time around. So, shamelessly using these avenues to use your taxpayers' money to reward the activists and the supporters who pushed when UNC win, everybody wins, and yellow is the code. During the general election campaign, right? They are finding innovative and creative ways now to reward them. And that is exactly what this is. But you see, this can happen when you put people who are unqualified to serve on state boards. You have two people serving on the board of TTT, which I am almost certain is what would have led to this development and would have led to Kingsley feeling emboldened to sit down in the studios of 91.1 or TTT Limited and show off his contract. You heard him say, see all the dollar signs there? That's the figure. So he gets paid. I wait to see what he's going to talk about. But I know anybody who knows Kingsley knows what he's going to come and talk about. Right? And if they bring back the underground report, who sits on the board? Well, you say Mikey Kay, from the Underground Report is now a director on the board of TTT. And the infamous Anna Munsami, aka Miss Santa Cruz. And again, those of you who used to listen to 91.9, and if you used to listen to certain other programs on other radio stations that are pro-UNC, you would be familiar with the name Miss Santa Cruz, a most vile, disgusting individual, right? When one sees some of the posts that she has shamelessly put up on Facebook, racist posts, right? Very derogatory to persons of African descent. And she doesn't care. When people say they're going to screenshot and put up, she says, so what? She don't care. Screenshot it. And these are the people that the UNC have seen fit to put on the board of TTT. Mikey K is Kingsley partner. Anna Munsami is, well, Kingsley is now her mouthpiece. I don't know if she still calls in on radio programs now that she's a director. But what is her qualifications to be a director on the board of TTT? And I saw that they've done away with the morning show on TTT. I don't know what it has been replaced with, for which I can see one of these days when I remember to check to see what it was replaced with. But it is clear that they are reshaping and molding state media to be the government's mouthpiece to push their propaganda. Once upon a time, Sweet 100, all you used to hear is music. Now it's being inundated with advertisements, government ads. If Kamala give a speech 3-4 times in 1 hour, you're going to have to hear them replay this thing over and over. That was unheard of before, and this is one of the reasons why people gravitate, some because of the popularity of that radio station, while some businesses gravitate to advertising there, and that is how the station makes its money. Now, who knows? If a man could go to a UNC fundraiser and pay $200,000 for a picture of the Prime Minister when she was a young woman, they just take a picture and they blow it up and they frame it, some cheap frame, and they say, we have an auction. And one man say, $200,000. Well, maybe they have the people who went to advertise on the radio station just because they're looking for favor from the Prime Minister. I don't know. But when you have, so my question is it that the board of TTT is now responsible for the day-to-day management of the stations, the television station and the radio stations that fall under TTT? Is that the case? Because I thought you have the board and then you have executive management, and the board will provide policy and executive management is supposed to carry it out. General policy. But when you have two persons who are known to be UNC activists, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, Mr. Mikey K was once in silver bracelets, right? And it was reported when he was put in the bracelets, he soiled himself, right? This guy whose name was mentioned in the live sport files for being paid, his company was paid based on what was reported in the files, some significant sums to promote the live sport program and to write good things about the program, and so something to the tune, if memory serves me correctly, about $92,000 a month or somewhere along those lines. The files are there. It was provided to Mr. Warner by Ruth Marchand, who has been in hiding in protective custody for the longest while abroad. All right? But this is how they reward their activists. Put them on a radio station and pay them a salary to come and talk rubbish. Your taxpayers' money. Meanwhile, plenty of you all who went and vote and dip all your finger in the ink for the yellow didn't have such a bright Christmas. Right? My messenger inbox blowing up. People from all over, because they saw the videos that we put up on my page, my constituency page, my MP page, about the hampers that we would have given out and so on. I am getting requests now from people from UNC constituencies asking for help. In fact, one young lady came last week. She sent me a message on 2 days or so before Christmas. I didn't know where she was from. I assumed that she was one of my constituents. When we checked, we saw that, in fact, she was not. She is from the constituency of Komoto Manzanilla. But in the message that she sent, she indicated that she has a young baby, a newborn baby, plus she has 4 other kids. She's a single parent, struggling. She don't have money to buy milk and pampers for the child and a whole set of stuff. I said, listen, just let her come. We will assist I told her to come the next day. She came to the office and we were able to assist her with hamper and some vouchers and grocery vouchers and so on. And she was very grateful. Told me she went to 2 different UNC MPs seeking help, didn't get it. She went to her counselor, who is also from the UNC, didn't get any help. And she's just basically been going through social media looking to see who giving out hampers or whatever it is or assistance so that she could get some. And she reached out to me and we were able to assist. But meanwhile, these people struggling, they are coming up with creative ways to reward their activists. And Kingsley so shamelessly will come on a video, right, on a live to hold up his contract and tell you, see all the dollar signs and look the figures there, to let you know I'm getting paid for this. It's not free. Okay? Well, you vote for that. Shameless. But you all voted for that. So, wait for it. The 5th of January, those of you who care to listen, wait for the underground report to come back too, for those 3 clowns to come. Well, I don't know if Mikey K will be a part of it, seeing as he's a director on the board of TTT. So it might just be the 2 and they might recruit somebody else to make it up. Just pretend that's already. Going again. Don't worry, we come into the fees just now. Because I just saw a post come up. More fees. With respect to the registration of births and deaths, the government has increased that fee by 100% as well. So from the time your child born, they had to start paying taxes under this government, right? There's a fee to be paid more than what you pay now. Come into that just now. Hold all your horses. So let me see if I get this here. Right. There was an article I came across. And negate here. Right. Nutrients. After TNT shutdown, Nutrien pivots to asset sales and potash expansion. What's significant about that article? Well, first of all, the article quotes someone from Canada who is speaking to why Nutrien shut down, right? So this is not PNM propaganda, as they love to say. Nutrien shutdown of its ammonia and urea operations in Trinidad has become a turning point in the company's retreat from nitrogen production as it sells off overseas assets and redirects capital towards potash, according to reporting published today by the Saskatoon Star Phoenix. In the article, it notes that in October, Nutrien commenced a controlled shutdown of its Trinidad operations, which produced ammonia and urea used in nitrogen fertilizer. The company said the decision came in response to port access restrictions imposed by Trinidad and Tobago's National Energy Corporation, along with a lack of reliable and economic natural gas supply that affected financial performance. Devan Mescal, Edwards Enhancement Chair in Business at the University of Saskatchewan, said the challenges in Trinidad went beyond economics. University of Saskatchewan, that is not PNM. We don't know him. He's no part of the PNM. He doesn't have a PNM membership, and he's not in any PNM party group. And I'm quoting him here. I think that there were political challenges in the Trinidad and Tobago operation, where a new government there was trying to squeeze Nutrien and restrict its access to ports and force it into an unfavorable renegotiation of the agreements. Mescal said, I think Nutrien realized that was not in their best interest and so ceased those operations. Right? This is a Canadian speaking here to a Canadian publication. And he is saying that there were political challenges in Trinidad and Tobago's operation, where a new government, not the old one, was trying to squeeze Nutrien and restrict its access to ports and force it into an unfavorable renegotiation of the agreement. So this is what is being reported in Canada. Mescal said the company now views the timing as an opportunity to sell assets and refocus its business. Nutrien, he added, sees this as a good time to sell and use the income to focus on areas where they expect more economic strength in the years ahead, the Star Phoenix reported. Since the Trinidad shutdown, Nutrien has accelerated divestment of non-core assets. Over the past year, the company has generated close to US $900 million through asset sales. This month, Nutrien sold its 50% stake in Argentina based on nitrogen fertilizer producer Profertil, and then it goes on. So let me see. That's all right. In our first quarter result, Nutrien said the proceeds would be directed towards priorities that are core to our long-term strategy. Now, when we posed the question, or the member for Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, posed the question to the Minister of Energy in the Parliament about continued talks with Nutrien. Remember, we were told, the talks are ongoing and everything is everything. Don't worry, all is well. Prime Minister and all came out and said, well, she met with the principals at Nutrien and discussions are ongoing. And they expected some sort of a solution. Well, based on what we're reading here, it doesn't seem that there's going to be any solution. And it seems that Nutrien's time in Trinidad and Tobago is at an end. For the sake of what, 28 million US in port fees, we were told by the government. I wonder how many millions Nutrien was paying in taxes and royalties and the like to the government of Trinidad and Tobago. How much? Probably more than 28 million US, right? So for the sake of 28 million US, a one-time payment, we were giving up millions of US dollars. So all the people who talk about the refinery and the PNM shut down the refinery, all who cost the PNM from 2016 until 2025 about the steel company, ArcelorMittal, and because the PNM and the PM come in and the company shut down, and you all sang that song for how many years? And blame the PNM for that. Who we blaming for Nutrien? The PNM too? Because when the PNM demitted office on the 1st of May 2025, Nutrien was up and running and there were no issues. No issues whatsoever. No signs of a shutdown. No signs of leaving our shores. Okay? So this development happened after the PNM demitted office. But of course, we know you all have creative people in the UNC who will come up with some novel explanation as to how you could blame the PNM for that. Let's say, well, you say because the PNM caused the fees to rack up and all that, and that is why the UNC had to. Okay. So that's less US dollars coming into the country's coffers, right? Because for the benefit of the UNC supporters who feel that the only way Trinidad and Tobago used to earn foreign exchange was through the refinery. Between 2018, when the refinery shut down, and 2025, when the PNM demitted office, the country was still generating foreign exchange, right? Clearly not from the refinery. And every time that come up, I keep asking persons, supporters of the UNC, how did the refinery generate foreign exchange? Since you all want to make the claim that the refinery was, yes, that was the main earner of foreign exchange. How was it earning foreign exchange? And what is Paria doing that other than refining? So the refinery was refining the oil. But the refinery wasn't earning foreign exchange by refining the oil. It was earning foreign exchange by selling the refined products, which is the same thing that Paria is doing now, to the same markets, and earning foreign exchange without having to spend money to maintain a refinery and to pay fees and to pay salaries and all of the other associated costs with running and maintaining a refinery. Right? Just putting that over there for your benefit. But you talk about refinery for everyone, what are you talking about? Nutrien. Okay. I spoke on the last day about the country's foreign exchange situation. We are now below 5 billion foreign exchange for the first time in a long time. That didn't happen under the PNM. It didn't happen. When the PNM left office, it was at 5.2 billion. It is now down to about 4.6 or less. But I can't tell you because the information is not on the central bank's website, which is where ideally it should be, since the central bank is the entity that is responsible for the management of and is the custodian for the country's foreign exchange reserves. All right. But for some reason, after always being up to date under the People's National Movement, you could go to their website anytime and get the information real time, up to date. For the last 3 months, the information has been unavailable. You could go and check for yourself. Let's throw that out there. All right. So just note what is being reported in international media, in Canada in particular, that Nutrien's departure from Trinidad and Tobago is because of your new government and them trying to squeeze Nutrien by the testicles. And Nutrien saw an opportunity to leave and they took it. So now it appears that they are gone. So all those persons who are working there are going to lose their jobs. Same way you are complaining about Petrogen. Defense line communities who used to provide services for Nutrien, they too are going to suffer losses all of the contractors who used to provide services to Nutrien, they will no longer have that benefit, and so therefore they will suffer losses. They might probably have to send home staff, but UNC supporters are not aware of these things, right? It's only when the refinery shut down that these things happen. Now that Nutrien, no big deal. The fallout is minimal. And okay, we're going again. Never a dull moment. So permit me to touch on the little Syrian that could not. For those of you who listen to Rambles TV, would have become familiar with that term in the what I call the takedown of the century, where Rambles would have dealt with Philip Edward Alexander comprehensively this past week. All right? And it seems again, Philip has forgotten that he is a minister of government, and therefore he's expected to display a certain level of decorum. But he decided to raise a hornet's nest when Rambles put out his usual, his usual posts and stuff, where he speaks on current affairs and he provides a certain perspective that supporters of UNC may not like. When the PNM was in power and he was doing the same thing and jamming the PNM, oh, they loved him. He was the best. Oh, yes. So let's go and check out Rambles. Trini Driver. So he had to, he's go by name Trini Driver. He used to talk about what's happening on the road. And then he got into the current affairs. He used to give it to the PNM too. And the UNC loved him. And then when they came into power and he started jamming their government, well, no, they didn't like him. They hate him too bad. So he has been very critical of this government, and Mr. Philip will fix it, who fancies himself to be the minister of ministers. Well, let me see if I get this here. For those of you who may not have heard it, because I know not everybody is on Facebook. All right, and that I think is where Rambles is mostly. So let me get this here. So, give me 1 second. So, let me find this here. Where is it? All right, I think this might be it here.
People keep asking all over social media, why is Philip Alexander in parliament? He will fall out with them just now. Why did they give him a chance to be a part of the government after he bad talked them for so many years? It seems like you all either don't know or pretending not to know. So let me clarify, why is Philip Alexander even there? Look at this photo, the UNC's first group photo for the entire cabinet. You get to realize that there are some faces missing. The loudest voices on social media right now are not a part of this photo. And you may think it's an oversight. It's not an oversight. People here are either core UNC members or people who had voter appeal, meaning you put them in a seat and they are going to win the seat for sure. Let's get into why. The UNC government, under the leadership of some well-paid consultancy firm somewhere, came up with an ingenious plan that any young person with common sense could have figured out for free. It was like, I have to explain everything in this country. One, nobody really sits and looks at news anymore. We live in a soundbite clip era. A soundbite of this, a clip of that.
This one. That's the one. We got this one here. Is this it, right?
Rambles, I will answer you when you grow a pair of balls and post with your name and face. Otherwise, you're just another PNM troll. Philip, I'm going to tell you something. When I talk, I don't actually talk for you to reply to me. I don't care if you reply to me or not. Because I know that you are not one of the players on the field. You are the water boy, doing nothing more than sitting on the sidelines, watching the players play the game, hoping that one day you get called up to the big leagues and get to actually play. But the respect and admiration that you so desperately crave will never come your way because you claim to be a shadow MP in a constituency that you lost. When in reality, you are nothing there. You are the junior minister in a ministry with no portfolio, so you are again nothing there. You are trying to be the thug and the bully online in the UNC party, but Anna Roberts already has that locked. So even that, you are nothing there. Even within your own race, you are a failure, which is why you now hate them so much because they're running like a dog when they realize that you would little Syrian and could not. So forget about answering me. Answer the people of Trinidad Tobago and tell them why. Since the government that you are a part of took office, the share price of Republic Bank has been going down. That is what you have to study to answer. Don't study Rambles and what he looks like. I don't like man. What he should also try to focus on answering is why since April to present day, FCB shares are also on the decline. What are you going to do with the financial sector in Trinidad Tobago? Answer that. Since you don't want to answer me, answer why it is in 3 months' time, 2 separate credit rating agencies downgraded our credit rating. Go ahead, answer that. All they're doing is say the last people mess up, the PNM, the PNM, the PNM, the PNM, the PNM. Instead of focusing on whether you should or should not respond to rambles, focus on the state of emergency we seem to be living under indefinitely. I know you all like to show this chart. Crime is down, which it is not, but crime is down. But if you look at the chart carefully, downward trajectory started under the PNM because they had an SOE. And you all backed up and then came into office and gave us a next SOE and then extended it again. So obviously you would see a slight dip in crime because that is how SOEs work. If you curtail movement, you have heightened security, crime will dip a bit. But it's not a long-term crime plan or crime solution like you want to try to make it out to be. Talk about that, answer that. Forget me and answer that. That is what the people want to know. Answer the question as to what is this US Army base doing in Tobago. People like to quote the SOFA agreement. The SOFA agreement never gave America the right to just do what they want. You still have to get the permission of the government of the day. So this didn't come about because of the SOFA agreement. It came about because your boss gave them permission to explain to us why it is the government who said no new taxes came in and on their very first budget, increased taxes and added some new ones. That is what you have to answer. Don't study me and what I look like. These are the burning questions. Ask how was the Christmas with the 19,000 plus forestry workers who were fired and the 400 plus ERP workers and the thousands of CPEP workers who lost their jobs the month before and the month of school reopening. Go and ask them how their Christmas was. Ask them how their children went to school. That's what you should be doing. Answer the question since you want to be answering stuff. Answer the question as to why it is since you became a junior minister. After talking about the Syrians when they want to enrich themselves. Within a few months, all of a sudden you're driving about something and looking brand new. How much is this vehicle? How much are vehicle cost, Philip? While these workers do have a job. Meanwhile, you chilling at every 1% function. You're knocking glass at all your AAA was wicked, evil and bad in the country. You can never see anywhere poor unless it's to go somewhere for the optics, to go out a few bags of groceries. That's all you care about. That is why everything you do is a spectacle because you crave validation. You seek it. You want people to see that you are this good, nice person. You are a good person, bro. You are a modern day snake oil salesman. People who don't see that don't know what a snake oil salesman does. So no, when I talk, I don't need to answer me. When I talk, no dog back. Don't feel like expecting a response. Respond to where person's tax returns are and why some persons haven't gotten their pension yet. Respond to why the ass is still in Tobago. Respond to why since you all took office, relations not only between Trinidad and Venezuela, but relations between Trinidad and the rest of CARICOM have deteriorated. That is now at an all-time low. That is what you should be answering. Don't be studying whether or not you should be answering me. You and none of your gullible followers will come and engage in any kind of meaningful discussion with me on anything. Nothing. Because you realize you all could never come out and say, Rambles, you lie. And this is how you lie. X, Y, and Z. You realize it's never that, right? It's always PNM and the 1%. And PNM and the 1%. Poke holes in what I'm saying. Do that. The reason why I can't respond is because your way of responding is not logical. It's not logical and truthful. So you have to now resort to insults and derogatory statements. And that is why I need to know what somebody looks like first, so you can go down that route. Problem is, nobody's afraid of Alexander. Nobody cares. Alexander can make a reply video for you by, oh no, Satan, so, oh, no, the pain, the horror. Because what? You walk loud? And then what? More extra blast of stroke. The irony in this is that many of you all didn't know or won't know, but you will know now. Persons so close to me know. Back in 2009, I drank the Kool-Aid the media was selling when they said that Patrick was a dictator. And I was like, yeah, Patrick must go. Give Kamala a chance. I never voted for her because I don't vote. But I would tell friends, hey, I think they should vote for Kamala. You know, give her a chance. Patrick is a dictator. And turns out, she wasted the country's time. You went on a tirade and confirmed everything that we suspected. That she was corrupt, that she's a drunk, that she's senile, that she tutter and she can't fall down. You came out and said all of that. And now you're mad at me for not forgetting that you said that. Why are you mad at me, bro? Why? Because I refuse to forget the hypocrisy. Because I refuse to forget that when you was angry, you ran in the corner and started singing. And now you're trying to make people forget all the shit you said. Okay? And you can stay mad.
What went on in this country under Kamala Persad was a bullshit show, and the media was used to lie to the people. I know. That was my job. We used to lie to the people and tell them shit was sugar.
And now, in the year 2025, they brought you right back to do the exact same thing to the population, the exact same playbook. And you're mad at me because I choose to not see that you are a snake oil salesman. You can stay mad. If you don't like what I have to say, lie down by it. But I'm not going to go back and forth with you on social media because you are a clown with no integrity. Brap, you.
Yeah, they dealt with him there good and proper. The little Syrian that couldn't. You all know I always say Philip Alexander is a counterfeit 1%er, right? The wannabe Syrian. So he has the accent and he might have the complexion, but he certainly didn't have the money. And so now the Prime Minister decided to give him the opportunity to make a little bit of money and give him a title as minister. So he probably figured, as you all know, he used to be costing the 1% for the last how many years? The 1% this and the 1% that and the PNM and the 1% and the 1%. And then, but of course, as Rambo just said, they kick him out, the 1% kick him out like a dog because they realized he's a little Syrian that couldn't. Despite his efforts, most of his business efforts would have failed miserably. He used to have a grab and go little business by Victoria Square there opposite Victoria Square. There's a building there where Pancho Bigo used to be, and downstairs where the PEP headquarters was. I don't know if it's still there. So do a grab. That didn't last very long. It didn't last as a Red House fire. And other businesses that he tried to get himself into, well, failed miserably. As I said, for years he driving his old Hilux. All of a sudden now he driving Land Cruiser, $1 million Land Cruiser. Why? Because he's named minister and he has access to all of these wonderful perks. And he couldn't wait to use it. Okay, so he's availed himself of it. So we figure now, because he has title of minister, junior minister, minister in the ministry of, that somehow that would lift his profile and the 1% community would welcome him back in with open arms. Unfortunately, not. So they're still giving him the side eye. You know, he might get a little grunt, but that's about it. You know, so he's disappointed. Basically, what is it? You're trying to get into a doctorate party, but you have an associate's degree. He holding an associate's degree, but wants to get into the doctorate party. It doesn't work that way, my friend. You need to work your way up, and they still don't want you. So, just as Ramble said, you know, the only time you see him anywhere poor is when he's looking for photo ops. So we saw yesterday he did a video. Thank God, the Sabga media, as he calls it, decided to run a story 2 days ago where Keith Scotland, the member for Port of Spain South, would have had a soup kitchen and he would have provided meals for the less fortunate in his constituency and environs. And that would have spurred Philip to decide, well, he wants to do something as well to catch the eye of the media, to show that, hey, he has a heart too. So yesterday, pull up in a van. Apparently he went to El Pecos and he buy some food and came and he decided to distribute it in Keith Scotland's constituency because he sees Scotland did it. And then complaining that the media, Sabga media, puts Keith Scotland on the front page and talk about how Keith Scotland assisting the poor and providing meals. And Philip came a couple of days later and he did the same thing and he didn't get a byline. Because the media has no time with him because they realize, why are you doing it? It's not genuine. It's not coming from a genuine place. For the last 7 months, 7.5 months, well, today makes it 8 months since the election. For the last 7 months and some since you've been a minister, how many times have you done this? How many times have you tried to help the poor to feed the poor? So where the PNM leads, you all have to follow. Because if Keith Scotland didn't do that, you wouldn't have done it either. All right? You come the other day and you hand out some hampers by the Queen's Park Savannah. So I guess wherever they get these hampers from and all these toys that they're giving out, because they have toy drive, and several of these UNC MPs moved around the country just before Christmas in these pickup trucks with boxes and boxes of toys. It's interesting that for the last 10 years when they were in opposition, they didn't have the resources to do that. But all of a sudden, now that they're in government, boxes and boxes of toys. Yeah, they can afford to drive around the country and play Santa Claus. In my constituency and all, you know, the Shadow, he came, he handed out toys too. They came to the Lower Malabar Community Center and they handed out toys there. You all recall between 2010 to 2015, Mrs. Prasad Bisasa, when she was able, she used to stand up behind one of these trucks and hand out toys and play Mrs. Claus. Remember that? And she ain't able to do that to stand up behind over and again. So they had to sit down and do it now. But where did all these toys come from? How come you all weren't able to do it for the last 10 years? So is it now that all of the contractors that all you say was greedy, eater food, PNM contractors, have they now bended the knee and they've come to the table of the UNC? Because I can't understand how for 10 years you all didn't have the money, the finances to be able to do this, and mere months into office, oh yes. And every one of these MPs who has given out toys, they have to say, we want to thank the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisasa for making this possible. How did she make it possible? The question was asked between 2010 to 2015, where you all used to get the money from to provide all these toys, these truckloads of toys. And here we are again. Here we are again. The PNM MPs, we had to dip into our pockets to hold a little Christmas party, right? To cater for about 300 to 350 children. We didn't have no van load and truck loader. We in opposition. Okay? When they were in opposition, even that they weren't doing. But in 8 months, they've been able to amass the resources to be able to do that. And I'm pretty sure the $200,000 that the gentleman paid for Mrs. Prasad Bissasa's picture didn't pay for that. Didn't pay for that. A party that for 10 years was knocking from pillar to post like the littlest hobo, couldn't afford a headquarters, right? They moved about 3 times in the last 10 years. All of a sudden, they didn't have money. You had, when certain dissidents, as they were called, fell out with them last year and they left the party and they were telling you about how they had to pay out of pocket, contribute from their salary, their MP salary to pay the rent and to maintain the headquarters, the owners and so on. And the party didn't have money. But all of a sudden now the party has found money. So the PNM thief and the PNM thief and Embut need to bring back the money and we all the billions that Embut thief. I didn't see the PNM doing that for the last 10 years. Same thing, the MPs were having their Christmas parties. They put in their pockets. Nothing on the scale, the size that the UNC has done. Having come into office for 8 months. Nobody questioning, the supporters not questioning where the money come from. Oh, thank you, Madam Prime Minister, we love you. That's all they're hearing. The same people who used to spark up outside Balize House when it was under construction and doing live to Mako, and everybody turned quantity surveyor and could tell you 200 million, 250 million, 300 million to build Balize House. Well, the companion building to Balize House today is still unfinished. If the PNM had thief, all the billions that you all say they thief, Balize House would have been finished by now. Right? The companion building, construction ceased. Everybody who was interested before and who could have tell you how much it cost, where are they today? They're no longer interested. When Rudal Munilal stand up on a UNC platform on Monday night meeting and said, when we come in office, we are going to turn Balize House into a house of vagrants because it was always a place for vagrants. And PNM people sit by and only take that. Right? That disrespectful individual claim that Balize House was always a place for vagrants. So when they come into office, they're going to seize it and turn it into a home for vagrants. What are we waiting on? And when they say thief, you all have access to all the documents. We'll bring out the proof to show that the government thief money, and that is how Balize House built. All of a sudden, the Douglas, you're not interested in Balize House anymore. Construction stopped. PNM thief. And I constantly told you, if the PNM wanted to thief, the UNC, when they demitted office in 2015, left the PNM with ample opportunity, right? They left opportunities on a platinum platter for the PNM to thief. All these projects that the PNM completed with less money than what the UNC had projected it would cost. They could have thieved the site, the QREP interchange that the UNC said was going to cost 503 million and the PNM did it for 221. That one project alone, they could have said, well, the UNC say 503, we go in with that figure. But we will hire the contractor who could do it for 221 and pocket the difference and thief. But they didn't do that. They did it for 221 and they made it a point to tell you the savings. The Arima Hospital, the Grandy Hospital, Point Fortin Hospital. When you look at what the UNC had projected to spend, PNM came in, retendered, and were able to do it for significantly less. President's House, that they said would have cost $169 million to renovate. The PNM did it for $89 million, a savings of $80 million. They could have thiefed that too. They didn't. Napa, which the UNC shut down for 2 years and said had so many defects, and they might have to abandon it. And their assessment and their is that it will cost upward. Lincoln Douglas, who was at the time the Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, said it will cost upwards of $100 million TT to fix the defects with Napa that they shut down for 2 years. The PNM came in and within the space of about 6 months, 6 to 8 months, they were able to complete the repairs at a cost of what? 20 million, not the 100+ million that Lincoln Douglas said it would cost. Again, the PNM could have said, well, the UNC say it's going to cost 100+ million. Well, we will get somebody to do it for 20 and say it costs 100+, right? And thief the difference of $80+ million. They didn't do that. The Red House project, UNC budgeted 950 million. The PNM did it for 441. All right? Savings of over $500 million. If they wanted to thief, they could have do that too. Thief that 500 million and say, well, the UNC said it would cost 950. Who are you to question us? If the UNC say it didn't cost that, so then they were lying. Brian Lara Stadium that they left for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days to rot as a monument of PNM wastage. All of you all UNC supporters who complain, oh, they're wicked, they left the Couva Children's Hospital closed for 10 years because they're wicked and vindictive and spiteful, is because the UNC built it. That's why they didn't open it. Never mind the fact that it was being used. But for the 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days between 2010 to 2015, when the Brian Lara Stadium was just there, they did nothing, right? Just there, just left. Allowed to further deteriorate, so that when the PNM came in, it cost even more money than it would have cost if the UNC had sought, or the People's Partnership had finished it when they came into office, and it was still ongoing. But they left it there. They said it would cost upward of $150 million to complete. The PNM came in and they did it for what? $90 million. Savings again. They could have thieved that too. You see how much money they could have thieved? All about the thief, and how much they thief, and they bring back the money. But in 8 months, you see them spending money on things that the PNM never did, or at least not in the quantum that the PNM did. And go again, government campus. Patrick Manning built it for the purpose of what? Reducing the amount of money that government was spending on rent. Well, you complain, how much money they're giving to the 1%, and they only renting 1% building, and Faris. Patrick Manning and the PNM built government campus to move out so many ministries and government departments from rented accommodation into state-owned accommodation, and to save millions and hundreds of millions of dollars on rent. For 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days, the People's Partnership left government campus empty, unoccupied, right? When they could have been saving millions in rent, they continued to pay rent for the 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days. The same one, Alexandra, that's all they complain about. They pay rent and they leave it empty. They left it empty. Renewed the lease. Paid $1 million a year for security for a building that they never used. Continue to pay millions, over 40-something million dollars in rent for a building that they never used. Spent over $100 million to outfit a building that they never used because, according to reports, they couldn't decide which ministry to put there. And every time cabinet decided, okay, we'll put this ministry, well, we need to outfit again to suit that ministry. And they went on like that for 5 years. Under 5 different ministries: Munilal, Suraj Rambachan, Chandra Sharma, Marlene Kudre, all of them. It passed on all of them. And it couldn't be, nobody could have moved in. And it cost you, the taxpayer, close to $200 million. PNM came in. What did they do? They moved the Ministry of Public Utilities inside it. And that is where the ministry has been since then. Plenty of all UNC don't know that all. They still figure the building empty. When government campus was there, the PNM came in and finished it, outfitted it. Because when they left in 2010, it was almost complete. And within record time in coming in 2015, they were able to outfit it and save millions of dollars in rent. Well, they don't talk about that. But they wanted to thief. And thief, how much money they thief? Balize House still unfinished, but they thief. Okay. Just thought I would put that, through that there in the mix, right? Going again. Let me get this here. That's all. So, let me just wrap up on Philip. So Mr. Mann decided so he moved from Stuart Young's constituency, where he has crowned himself the shadow MP, put up a billboard by the roundabout in St. Clair there, outside the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, put up a billboard extending Christmas greetings to the constituents of Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West from the shadow MP. Well, the billboard didn't stay there too long. I guess he probably got the order to move it. But this man's so shameless. You're giving out hampers, all right? But you want to limit it to only constituents of Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West. So you give out the number, the 7 whatever fill, send your name, send your ID number, and so on, so that they could verify that you live in the constituency. And if you don't live in the constituency, hard luck, nothing for you, right? We don't care that you're suffering. We don't care that you had a CPEP work, which we took away. We don't care that you were working URP, that you weren't a ghost, one of the 8,000 ghosts that they said existed. We don't care about that. We don't care that you were working in forestry and we take away your work. We don't care that you were working in a government ministry and we decided not to renew your contract, right? Or not to extend your contract, and so now you're unemployed because you vote for that. No, we don't care, because we're looking for votes and we're looking for support in Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West. Because after several elections are getting his backside walloped by Coleman Burton, Diego Martin Northeast, and he realized that is an exercise in futility, he decided to come to Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West. Another exercise in futility. I don't know how many elections it's going to take for him to realize that. So, I said that people who need help, get blank. Because when you send your name and your ID card number, and they go up on the EBC website and they put in the information and it says, well, this person is registered to vote in this constituency and this is the polling station or what polling division, whatever it is, they realize you don't belong. So there is no value in giving you a hamper. No political value in giving you a hamper. All right? Go and ask your MP. He's not interested in you. He's just reserving this for people who struggling in Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, so that he could score a few political points on Stuart Chung. But Stuart Chung handed out his hampers long before you, pal. And unlike you who have to wait till Christmas, Stuart Chung has been doing that ever since. Even though they take away his little pension, his prime ministerial pension, a portion of which would have gone back to his constituents who are struggling because of you. Because all of this, and he was only prime minister for 1 day, and he was only prime minister for a month and a half, or they can't decide how long he was prime minister for, right? But take away his pension. So he still has to take care of his constituents, who, like the rest of the other 13 of us, have to do the same thing and take care not only of our constituents, but your constituents who come to us. And unlike you all, we are not so heartless to turn them away. So when a single mother with 5 children reaches out, you not say, well, which constituency is she from? Kumuto Manzanilla, Sangi Grandi, tell her go and talk to her MP. We only seen about Malaba Mausika. We ain't doing that. Tell her to come. Tell her to come. Because the hampers came to us from the generosity of people who look at this podcast. And so therefore, they asked me to help people. They didn't say only help people in Malaba Mausika. But he turned away people. And who brought this up? How did this come to my attention? By one of his own supporters. A man who goes by the name of Jason X, Jason De Silva, whose back Philip rode like a rented mule during the election. Up and down, every day you're seeing videos popping up on Facebook. They're all over Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West. From Belmont to wherever. And if you see Jason right there, head on head, heel on heel with him, by talking the PNM with the PNM this, and look at how much he has the PNM in charge of this constituency, and look at the condition, and this and that. Yeah. 8 months later, he's still looking for work. Philip is minister in the ministry of. And my boy is still looking for work. All who he convinced to vote yellow is the code. And now they're calling him, Jason, what going on, boy? What going on? You tell me to hold on. You tell me wait till budget come, budget read, budget pass, nothing. What going on? We had a little work in CPEP. They take it. You tell me you'll get through. Nothing. Well, boy, he decided to take Philip to task too. Because he fed up. And over the last couple of days, I have lost count of how many hardcore UNC activists who were singing yellow is the code, and when UNC win, everybody win. All of them now coming out of their hole and jamming the UNC. All who saying they regret, they go back their vote. They are voting again. They don't vote because Kamala is a liar and UNC is deceit and deception. And they tell me this and nothing. 8 months. We told you all that. We didn't need a crystal ball to tell you all. The leopard don't change his spots. But all they didn't listen. But don't listen to me. I'll play them for you all just now to hear. I saw this morning, but I ain't reached there yet. So let me wrap up with a little Syrian that couldn't. So after Rambles take him down, poor soul, he didn't know how to respond. So he did another video, right? And we expected him to respond to Rambles in similar fashion, but why? Like that takedown was too much. And Rambles mashed up his kidney, liver, lungs, and everything. He couldn't respond. When he come to do this video, he looking like a wet fowl. I just come out of the rain. Weather beaten. Don't know what to do. He said, well, it really makes sense. So I talked to Anel, and Anel tell me why you with your loud voice, why it is you wasting time on them clowns. I played for you. I know you all don't like to hear.
Coming here to Trinidad and Tobago was a
give me 1
lesson.
second. So, bear with me. All right, let me see if I find this here. We like take it down. What a shame. Yeah, but like take it down. Because always that time. I tell you, the man was looking defeated. Seriously defeated. So basically, he came and he did a live on TikTok and he talked about, well, you know, he talked to Anil and Anil tell him. So that takedown from Rambles was so serious that he had to run to Anil for support. Right? So Anil helped me here now. And Anil tell him, well, boy, you know, this one is better you just say take win and relax. I don't suggest that you go and respond. You can't respond to that. You just take win and hush him out. And that's what he did. He said, come on, you do that thing. And he said, that makes sense. Anil tell me. Anil, since when you don't listen to anybody, the Prime Minister tell you to pat down, stay in your lane. You stay in your lane for 2 weeks and then come and do a live and say, well, I can't stay in my lane. It's difficult. Right? You're jumping out your lane. And every time he has an opportunity to interact with the Prime Minister, when he's finished and he goes back to his vehicle, he needs to have a bale of toilet paper right next to him on the passenger seat. Right? So he can wipe his face from all that brown nosing. Out of all the UNC people, all the members of the government, this man, every opportunity is praise Kamala, praise Kamala, praise Kamala. Everything is the Prime Minister and the Honorable Prime Minister, and he wants to thank the Prime Minister. He took a picture of the Prime Minister the other day when he gave her a pen set. And this is the memory of a lifetime for him. He will never forget this. He should probably give him a kiss on the cheek and he never go in and wash his face. He done bathe for the rest of his life. But you heard what I just played there, right? What he said there, they used to lie. That was his work between 2010 to 2015 was to lie. When he said, Jerry Hadid call him and tell him, Phil, boy, help you out now, boy. She's singing, boy, she's singing. He said that. She drunk and she's singing. How many bodies he said he buried for them between 2010 to 2015. And so they bring him back now because he's useful. Collecting $70,000+ a month for what? As he said, as he told Penny Beckles, to be greatly underutilized. Greatly underutilized. So while some of you are struggling, and your struggles are about to increase come January 1, with the increase in fines, right? The same fines that Prasad Bisasa said was wicked and evil, draconian, and oppressing the people under the PNM, she come and double it. Say, 100% increase. But it was wicked. She promised to reduce it, put her in office, and she would reduce the fines, and she would implement a program of educating the motoring public, because that is what was needed. The merit point system was wicked and oppressive, double jeopardy, because on the one hand, you're getting a ticket and then you're getting demerit points too. We're going to remove the demerit points. Fix the system. Commented that just now. I really wanted to, yeah. Right. So I'm wrapping up on Philip. So his latest post, I did a hamper drive. He needed to chronicle that. A massive toy drive and fed 450 lunches to the homeless. And not a line from Sabga Media, but Scotland pot of soup, ... So he vexed because the media didn't come and showcase him, that he didn't see himself on the evening news, or he wasn't a clip on the radio news, that he gave out 450 lunches to the homeless, had a massive toy drive, and did a hamper drive. Yeah, you forget the lighting of the tree and the crash in Wildflower Park that caused a whole set of traffic jam and inconvenience people. Right, Philip? But while it is you want to come and boast about, oh, we helped 450, provided 450 lunches to the homeless. What are they eating today, Philip? What about tomorrow, Philip? I'm sure some of those homeless people that you thought were homeless, probably not homeless. They have homes, but they're struggling because they're unemployed and food sharing. And they're just looking for a little meal. So you help them one day. What about today? What about tomorrow, Philip? What about for the rest of the week? That while you're boasting, you provided 450 lunches to the homeless. You know what the PNM was doing just before they demitted office? They were building a facility, Philip, not too far from where you were handing out the lunches a couple days ago, Philip, just down the road. And for those of you who are not sure, if you're a member of the traveling public and you use PTSC services, when you're driving into PTSC, that's as you come off the bus route, and just before you enter the PTSC compound, on your right-hand side, you will see a 3-story or 4-story building there with concrete blocks that is incomplete. Just right on the right-hand side, before the road that leads back out into Abattoir Road, I think that leads back out into the highway. There's an unfinished building there, which we asked about during the budget. The PNM started that That was supposed to be a facility to provide housing for these same homeless people that he was so happy to provide meals to. When we asked about it, because there was no allocation for it in the budget, what were we told by the minister? That project is under review. So construction has stopped. It's just there, no allocation. So therefore, it means that for fiscal 25 to 26, nothing is going to happen on that building. It's just going to be there. So the homeless will continue to be homeless, while the PNM was putting things in place to change that status so they wouldn't be homeless. They would have a place, a decent place to rest their heads. They could take a shower. They need to use the facilities instead of defecating all over the city. And UNC people love to say how nasty and stink Port of Spain is, and the PNM was seeking to fix that. All the videos you all love to do, driving down Independence Square, and you reach KFC to show all the vagrants who line down in front of Republic Bank and RBC and KFC and all of them. The PNM was seeking to fix that before they left office, and that building was well advanced. But the UNC came in and said that is under review. What is the review period? We don't know, as long as it takes. So at least for the next year, nothing going to happen there. All right? Nothing happening there, but he's okay about the homeless. So you came one day, the media take you on, you take a few pictures, you do a video, and you're going to post it up on social media, and then you forget about it. Next month will come, you get your salary. You don't get your salary since the 19th. Yeah? Since the 19th, you get paid. So he got driving around. You feel he cared for one day, but you want to criticize the PNM. Keith Scotland wasn't looking for no media coverage. This is something that Scotland does. I was informed that when Christmas comes around, one of the MPs who is most generous, and even during when school closes for the August vacation, Keith Scotland, very generous. It's not something that he's just doing today. It's something he's been doing all the while. Okay? So just wanted to put that out there for you, Philip. So let's see what other stunts you're going to come with. I mean, this landlord surcharge, you and Anel need to go down come January 1st. You and Anel need to go down January the 2nd. You all need to go down to BIR. You, Anel and Naked, you all need to go down to BIR and register as landlords. Pay your $2,500 and register as landlord. Because right now, the PNM clearly renting space and all your head. First thing you all get up in the morning. Imagine 3:30 in the morning, you going to the gym. Let me do a live. PNM, PNM, PNM. PNM, PNM, PNM. When the next clown, the bald-head buffoon gets up, 6 o'clock, before he even brushes his teeth and says prayers, let me go in the kitchen. Let me do a live. With your little Scooby-Doo dog at the side. PNM, PNM, PNM. PNM, PNM, PNM. And when Naked feel that he need to jump in the fray too, so if he's in his office, he get to the office, right. Before he even open a file, probably hand it on his desk. So he has nothing to do. He too is greatly underutilized. What to do, boy? Let me do a live and cuss the PNM. PNM, PNM, PNM. And refer it to PNM bottom feeders, PNM rabbit dogs. These are ministers of government who get and paid taxpayers' money and who took an oath and Bibles, right? To do right by all, without fear or favor, affection, or ill will. But every day early on social media, he came very early and said, Naked, that is, if you are PNM, that the government should fire you. You have a government work, the government should fire you because you're supporting the PNM. So in this country, Rowley was the dictator. PNM was the dictatorship. But the PNM, nobody in the PNM advocated that if you're working in the government and you're a UNC supporter, that you should be fired. Nobody in the PNM ever did that. He came and he said that quite early. No repercussions, right? Nothing of the sort. It's okay for him to say that. And refer to PNM supporters as the most derogatory of terms as a minister of government. Like these men haven't gotten the memo yet. You all are no longer you're not in opposition. So you can't say what it is that you want to say just so. All right, you are ministers of government. You are the custodians of the state resources. So if it is all of a sudden PNM people struggling to get HDC, or what is supposed to say? When you have 2 ministers, 3 ministers in fact, well, 2 ministers in HDC who cussing the PNM and the supporters every day. What is supposed to say? I mean, it's mind-baffling. For 10 years, Rowley and the PNM only blame Kamala, blame Kamala, blame Kamala. Blame the UNC, blame the UNC, blame the UNC. What have you all been doing for the last 8 months? Blame Rowley, blame Rowley, blame Rowley. Blame the PNM, blame the PNM, blame the PNM. What's the difference? What's the difference? Same thing. Kamala, during the election, she had her playbook. Every now and then she bring out the playbook. PNM playbook. Page 1 was PNM strategy number 1, blame Kamala. Number 2, blame Kamala. Number 3, blame the UNC. 4, pull the race card. And all we can hear from you all now is PNM and the PNM and the PNM. All in office, bro. You're in charge. As the Prime Minister, so you all don't need our support. But we don't have to do that. We just had to rock back and allow you all to self-destruct as you've been doing for the last couple of days. So similar to 2010 to 2015, or in 2012, we all remember Section 34, right? When the dead of night on August 31st, well, everybody looking at fireworks in the Queen's Park Savannah, or wherever it is they were looking at the fireworks, the government quietly proclaimed Section 34, which, for those of us who forgot, essentially would have enabled certain people who are lying to the UNC to be able to approach the courts and to have their matter dismissed because of the length of time that it had been pending in the courts. All right? You know, and they came and they did that. So on Christmas Day, while many of you were eating and drinking and making merry, they come and they pull a similar stunt. Right? So they decided to increase the fees, double the fees for a number of traffic offenses. In the budget document, still have it. It don't really move on. Let me mind on it, right? Look at here. 2026 budget statement, okay? They identified 5, or was it 6, traffic penalties or traffic offenses for which they would increase the fees. Only 6. Let's see if I get it here. So, well, let me look for it. Not even 6. Page 54 of the document, and it reads, to ensure stricter adherence to the law, we propose more rigorous consequences for non-compliance. 4, driving while disqualified from holding or obtaining a driver's permit. Currently, there is no fee. They propose to increase the fee to $5,000. Careless driving, again, existing, no fee. We propose to increase the fine to $15,000. Driving or being in charge of a vehicle while blood alcohol levels exceed prescribed limit, existing, no fee. Proposed, $15,000. The increase in penalties will contribute an additional $180 million a year in revenues. What we were hearing for the last 5 years, every time we have a roadblock, police or licensing officers, this is not about law enforcement. No, the government trying to raise revenues, to generate revenue. That's what we were hearing. Now we hear, no, it's about law enforcement and I had to deal with reckless drivers. So they say. All right. So several fines have increased. Let me get it here. Just now, give me 1 second. Just now. Why this bad so? Why this bad so? Right. Using a vehicle in defective condition. Currently, it's $1,000 fine. Effective the 1st of January, that fine will go to $2,000. Improper use of a dealer's license from $1,000 to $2,000. Motorcyclists without a helmet. South Park. I saw you the other day and think you can't ride your bike without a helmet anymore. It will charge you $2,000. Driving or the driver not wearing a seatbelt from $1,000 to $2,000. Front seat passenger, no seatbelt, $1,000 to $2,000. So make sure anybody come in your car that they put on the seatbelt. Oh, good grief. You all forgetting the noise, my neighbors? Yeah. That's soon to be an offense, right? And a fine for that. But anyway. Child under 5 years not wearing seatbelt, $2,000. Child under 5 years old not in child restraint, $2,000. Unauthorized motor racing, $2,000. Failure to obey traffic warden, $2,000. Improper U-turn, $2,000. No valid inspection sticker, $2,000. You all know under the PNM, when you didn't inspect your vehicle, you used to get a little blind. And then the government will come and announce, hey, we're starting to crack down and whatnot and stuff. And what used to happen then? Everybody used to run to the inspection centers and get everything inspected and whatnot. The government then didn't say, well, we're going to increase the fine to $2,000. They would just announce we're going to crack down, so get your house in order, please, so you could ride. Defective windscreen from $1,000 to $2,000. Defective windscreen wipers, $1,000 to $2,000. All right. Defective mirrors, $1,000 to $2,000. No review mirror, $2,000. Parking obstruction offenses, parking offenses, $2,000. I wonder what parking offenses mean. So all of you who like to park wherever all they want to park, I just pulling in here. So is it that we're not wrecking anymore? We're going to issue tickets at $2,000. Make sure you have your money here. Okay. Start saving. Set up a savings account for that. Specific for traffic offenses. Because things happen. When the demerit point system was in place, I got 2 demerit points. Right? The only time I got demerit points. Why? I am driving down the highway one day heading to my office in Chaguanas, and 2 gravel trucks in front of me. Right? So, and both of them driving at the same speed, so I can't overtake. So I'm a little distance away from the one because I'm seeing the little pebbles and the little toad jumping and bouncing. So I just driving there hoping for the opportunity that one of them would have, the one in front of me would have the good sense to pull and go across on the next lane so that those of us who would like to overtake could proceed. But apparently that didn't occur to him. So I just driving there and the next thing I hear packs. And I watch, windscreen, crack. Right? Chip the windscreen. I vex. Upset. Because all the time I can't go down, right? But little OCD now, it upset me because it's right in front by the driver's side. So I seen it lower area. Okay, but it's just a little thing. Wake up the next morning, the crack stretch across the screen. So I say, well, I need to change my windshield because this is an offense. Call the insurance company, right? I want to make a claim, so and so, change my windshield, whatever. The time I go by so and so, when give me the list and go by this company. Okay. So I call the company. I need to change do a windshield change, whatever. Have a list. Right. Tell me, well, okay, so you could bring it in, you could bring in the vehicle, or we could arrange to come and meet you wherever it is. They said, but you want the original windshield, or you want wherever is the other one they have, right? The lower costing one. I said, what's the cost of the original? And they told me. I said, well, all right, it's within my coverage limit, so let's go with the original. So you gotta wait a week because we don't have the original right now, but we have a stock coming in and we should have it by next week. So once it comes in, we'll call you and let you know, and you can, right, great. No problem. Couple days later, I'm driving down Independence Square, heading east, looking to head home. And there is a roadblock right by, just before the corner by Charlotte Street, the corner of Independence Square and Charlotte Street there, right? Warden officers pull me over. Okay, me right thinking nothing. The man comes, she asked me for my license and insurance and stuff. She check and things. She says, you realize that your windshield has a crack, right? I said, yes. But this happened a couple of days ago. I made the report to my insurance. They sent me to a particular company, and the company does not have the original windshield right now, but they told me by next week they will have in stock and they'll come and change it. So I just waiting for that. She didn't want to hear that. Issue me a ticket for $1,000 and 2 demerit points. Innocently, I didn't crack my windshield. I pay $1,000 and 2 demerit points for something that wasn't my fault. It is not that I decided to ignore it. I did what I was supposed to do. I didn't think any big thing would happen in a week. I get catch, I pay my $1,000, I get my 2 demerit points. Things like that happen. And this has incensed many a UNC supporter. So I saw early this morning, the Douglas decided to do because you realize all of them on social media, they're reading the comments and they're seeing what people saying and they're seeing the videos of their beloved activists who cussing them all over the country and expressing regret. They're reading the comments from their supporters, their diehard supporters who are saying, it's better we keep the PNM. The difference between the PNM and the UNC is the same thing. That's what they say. And they're seeing it. So the Douglas decided to come this morning to do a doubles and coffee to try and defend the indefensible. Well, boy, they cussed that. If they could have stretched their hand to the screen and pull him through, they say, hey, don't come with that nonsense this time. Normally we support you, but you see with this one, well, they're not getting any support. Rocks with that. If at the time it had about 100 and something comments, 10 was in support. 10 hypocrites. The rest of them, not having it. take him to task, rake him over the coals. They don't know what to do with themselves. All right? So, and as if that isn't bad enough, then you see now they increase the fees with respect to death certificate, birth certificate. So even if, remember they told you all they had to do was to remove the demerit system. When we were telling them the greater deterrent is the demerit system, there are some people who simply should not be on the road. People who drive in the car with no insurance, right? And they do that as a habit. They should not be on the road. But when you just charge them a fine, and the fine's more, they pay the fine and whatever. Even if it's $2,000, they don't want to lose their license, so you know what they do? They rather pay the fine. Or they get rid of the demerit point system, and where are we today? By her own admission, the Prime Minister said it didn't work. The removal of the demerit point system did not work. We'll pull up the article. Rise in custom fees to take effect from January 1. They increase the cost to maxi taxi drivers for your bus route pass. So let me educate some of the supporters of the UNC who figure that this is an increase in the fine for using the bus route illegally. No, the fine for using the bus route has been $2,000 for a while now. This is what the maxi taxi drivers pay every quarter for the privilege to use the bus route. You know the bus route pass that you see on the windshield? They had to pay for that. It's not free. So right now they pay $300 a quarter. It has now gone up to $600 a quarter. And it has provided opportunity for the maxi taxi drivers to say, well, we had to increase the fees. All right? Because there was no increase in the cost of diesel. They're using diesel, so they couldn't use that as an excuse. No, they've already saying that they're supposed to meet sometime this week to discuss that. And more than likely, they're going to, the Route 2 Maxi Taxi Association, it seems, is inclined to increase fares from Port of Spain to Arima. Right? And you know that short drop. Once you jump in the Maxi in City Gate, you pay the full fare. Even if you're going just to San Juan, you had to pay the full fare as if you're going to Arima. So, let me get this here. But I love the Prime Minister's response, right? Because, just now, let me get this here.
Food review.
Yes, let me get this here. Where is it? Right. Yes, no. So many things are safe. Where is it? Boy. Listen to all your beloved Prime Minister, right? The loving, caring. Half of me belongs to you, and the other half I give to you. There have been Prime Ministers before me. There will be Prime Ministers after me, but there will never be a Prime Minister who loves you as much as I love you. I love you. My heart is pure and my hands are clean. Rowley is a dictator. He don't care. He buffer people. PM blames lawlessness for new penalties and threatens fireworks ban. There wasn't enough that we passed a law the other day to regulate the use of fireworks. Now she's threatening to ban. All they don't want to behave. Hands up, out, up, out. Here. Lawlessness. This is the reason Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar cited as the driving factor behind government's decision to impose significantly tougher penalties for road traffic offenses. Not slightly, significant, 100% increase in all your ways. Everything is 100% increase. On December 25th, that was her Christmas gift to you all. A legal notice was published announcing increased penalties across a range of offenses, including speeding, dangerous driving breaches, documentation violations, and other road traffic infractions. Most of the fines have been doubled and will take effect from January 1, 2026, right? Tuesday. So enjoy all the last 3 days. Persad-Bissessar's opposition leader previously criticized the People's National Movement administration for imposing what she described as hardship on citizens through the demerit point system and high traffic fines. However, responding to questions from the Sunday Express yesterday, the Prime Minister said her government removed the demerit system, yet reckless road behavior continued, causing deaths and endangering lives. Didn't we tell you all that? Didn't the PNM tell you all if you remove the demerit point system that would not solve the problem and the recklessness, in fact, would increase? And they said, no, the PNM fear-mongering. They were wicked and evil and oppressive. And when they removed the demerit point system, the supporters clapped. Yes. And they smiled and they said, finally, we have a prime minister with heart, a prime minister who is compassionate. She said, people were blatantly breaking the law and pointed out that even with regulations governing fireworks usage, citizens still breach the law over Christmas Day. What did you expect, madam? A lot of people don't even know that the law was proclaimed. Plenty of people don't even know the law exists because not everybody looks at the Parliament channel. Not everybody listens to the news about, not everybody reads the newspaper. But this is what we tell you all. But anyway, she warned, if people refuse to comply, a ban will follow. But Rowley was the dictator. All across the country, you have these little tents and car parks and the grocery and malls and so on. People selling their little fireworks to make a little kakada, a little something to tie them over into the new year. All right? Everyone that I pass by, not a soul, nary a soul coming to purchase fireworks. People sit down, they all fall on. Don't tell me nobody ain't gonna buy because people ain't sure how the law works now. Some people are making a habit of mistaking leniency and kindness as a license to keep breaking the law. I have seen it over the Christmas where there has been disregard for the fireworks law. This is Mrs. Prasad Bisasa speaking here. So the next step will be to ban fireworks outright if citizens cannot adhere to the law. Who don't hear will feel. Mommy, and what I like to say, mother, Auntie comes putting down her foot. Apparently, Keith was too lenient. Yeah? Similarly, we removed the traffic demerit point system, and some persons took that as a permit to abuse leniency and break the law on the roads. Didn't we tell you all that? When we spoke in the Parliament, did we not tell you all that it made no sense to remove the demerit point system because it was put there as a deterrent? If a man see that he could lose his license, he's far more likely to obey the law and to avoid infractions rather than if you remove the demerit point system and he tell himself, if they charge me a fine, I'm going to pay the money. And then some of them know that the date that they're given to come to court is till whenever, so they care some of them not even paying the fines. How many times have we seen videos on social media with man ticket long from here to next week, and they're proud to come and look at how much tickets I get. We ain't paying none, and they're happy and boasting. But when it is half of that long slipper tickets could result in them losing the license, plenty different though. But they said that was the answer. That's the solution. Remove the demerit point system because it's wicked and oppressive. Yes, and only clap for that. The great PNM gone. Dawn of a new era. Well, you're correct. I love when you all pronounce it that way, not era. Dawn of a new era. And that's exactly what it was. In just 8 months, you all have realized it was an era. All your horses. That's some stuff to play for. Let us know. This is here the kicker. Eh? The Prime Minister was uncompromising. So all those of you, her supporters, her activists who come in on social media and say, Mother, what you're doing? Mother, you need to rethink that. Mother, you need to fire that. Whoever advising you, she's advising herself. So don't blame no advisor. She is advising herself. And when these things happen, she don't come on and say, well, you know, no backtracking. She doubling and tripling down, just like the fees and the fines. So the Prime Minister was uncompromising, right? So it had no backtrack. So the fines have been increased to tackle this lawlessness because some people's lack of respect for the law, and here this part, subpar intelligence levels simply can't accept kindness and mercy. So some of all your subpar intelligence levels, in other words, all you're too damn stupid. The Prime Minister said, all your subpar intelligence levels, all you're too dotish to understand. She's saying that in a nice way. Euphemism, all right? Let me repeat it. Because of some people's lack of respect for the law, and others because of all their subpar intelligence levels simply can't accept kindness and mercy. They can only operate lawfully under fear of punishment. That's how it goes, and I take full ownership of the decision. So all of you idiots out there, I remember when a certain former program director on a certain radio station that I was on, Dr. Atip, a clip that Dr. Rowley, when he had said, the opposition thinks that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid. And he doctored it and he cut it to hear the people of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid. And of course, the UNC supporters run with that for years. And Rowley said the people are stupid. And Rowley said the people are stupid. Never say that, you know. But your prime minister here is reported to have said, some of you all, because of your subpar intelligence level, you can't accept kindness and mercy. You're too dotish. It's a bunch of fools we're dealing with, right? She's intellectually superior to you all. You all want too stupid to go and vote for the yellow? No. When they were singing, when UNC wins, and yellow is the code, well, it was bright. You all was smart, intelligent, and is the PNM supporters dotish, and PNM is a cult. And if the sky blue and Rowley tell them it's purple, they go say it's purple. It's a set of dotish people in the PNM. Yeah, well, now all the prime minister saying all you're stupid. She is basically saying that, you know what? You will still have UNC supporters who will applaud that. Come, she just joking. Come, is something else. Yes? She just say some kind of thing, eh? But she ain't done yet, you know. Commit to that. She stressed the need for firm law and order, warning that innocent citizens continue to suffer because of reckless individuals. Here is part. If any citizen wants to break the law and drive recklessly and kill themselves on the road, that is fine by me. The problem is that they usually kill innocent law-abiding citizens along with themselves. So don't you say, who want to dead, could dead. If you want to drive recklessly and disobey the law and kill yourself, I have no problems with that. Kill yourself. But you see, when I take it innocent lives, that is what I have a problem with. So half of me belongs to you. The other half I give to you. There have been prime ministers before me. Prime ministers will come after me, but none will love you as much as I love you. And you know how I love you? You could go and break the law, drive recklessly and kill yourself, and that is fine with me. I couldn't care less. It don't bother me if you kill yourself. But I have a problem with when driving recklessly, you kill other people innocently. That's what I have a problem with. Rowley say, who live, live, and who dead, dead. Rowley never say that. What did Rowley say? The union, in opposing the government's decision to save lives, when the government was contemplating a policy, a measure, at making it mandatory for public servants to take the COVID vaccine or to be furloughed, meaning you rather take it, but we cannot put you to work with people who are vaccinated, and then you spread the virus, you get it, and then people die, and it's a problem in our hands. So we are saying we give you the choice, but if you choose not to, well, all right. You will just stay home until the COVID is lifted, and then you can come back out to work. And Roger and them say it should be a matter of choice. So who want to take the vaccine, let them take it. And who don't want to take it, that's their business too. If they choose not to take it and they get COVID and they're dead, well, then so be it. But make it a choice. Do not force people to take it. Do not make it mandatory to people either you take it or you don't get paid. And Dr. Rowley was simply characterizing what the union said. And he was saying essentially what the union is saying, who live, live, and who dead, right? Let people choose who want to live and take it, or who choose to risk it and die, that their business. Rowley never say who want to live, live, and who dead. But that's what but your prime minister is saying she don't care two hoots. If you decide to drive recklessly and kill yourself, that's fine by her. She will read this story and she'll have no remorse. So when I saw there was a story carried yesterday, I think it's in the Express, where Pan American Life CEO Winston Williams was talking about, his son and how his son lost his life, and he feels guilty at this time of Christmas, feeling any measure of joy because his son is gone, and he feels that to be happy or to even crack a smile at a time when his son is deceased, that he feels somehow he's doing his son a disservice. Now, we don't know the circumstances that led to the young boy's demise. He might have fallen asleep at the wheel. So sometimes it's not that people driving recklessly or they drinking or anything like that, Sometimes you're tired. You're working hard. Your employer working you to the bone. And you're going home. It has happened to me. One time I remember a few years ago, I'm driving, coming up the highway, and I don't drink alcohol. I was tired and I doze off. It's a good thing I was driving on the street and the vehicle was going straight. I wasn't going at no significant speed. And when I catch myself and wake up, I was approaching the Grand Bazaar interchange there. I said, well, what the hell is this, boy? I knocked out because I was just very tired. There was another instance. Fortunately, I was in bumper-to-bumper traffic coming up the highway, and I knocked out And the next thing is because my car ran into the back of a panel van that was in front of me. I had no control. I was tired and I tried to turn up the music, all kind of thing, but I just dozed off in that moment. Unfortunately, the car rolled and it just hit. There was no damage. But these things happen. How many people have ended up in accidents and have died because of that? But as far as the Prime Minister is concerned, it could only happen because you was driving reckless and you were drinking alcohol. We continue. Right, this is your beloved Prime Minister who is so loving and caring. If Rowley had said something like that, oh boy. Let me see here. Right, so she was saying, if any citizen wants to break the law and drive recklessly and kill themselves on the road, that is fine by me. The problem is that they usually kill innocent law-abiding citizens along with themselves. So the short answer is drive within the law. Prasad Bisesa also clarified that her earlier criticism of high penalties under the former administration was based on what she said was double punishment, fines plus demerit points. But you still have fines and demerit points for driving drunk. And I think 5 other offenses as well also carry demerit points and fines. So what's your point? That's not double punishment? She accused the opposition of attempting to manufacture controversy when none exists, saying the solution is simple, obey the law. So that didn't apply under the demerit point system, madam. You couldn't tell people when the demerit point system is, well, if you don't want demerit points, obey the law. That's all. That's all. You know how many motorists never got any demerit points or have never gotten tickets because they obey the law? But simple things. One of the things that they increased the fine for, I saw driving above the speed limit. And I see where if you're 2 or 3 kilometers above the speed limit or so, $2,000 fine. So they increased the fine for that too, right? Now my thing is, signage with respect to speed limit on most of our roads don't exist. You would see it on the highway. But on minor roads, you hardly see it. I'll give you an example. Recently, I was invited as Member of Parliament from Alabama-Moussika to attend the opening of the Tiantec Credit Union branch on Tumpuna Road. And during his speech, the president of the credit union asked me if I can intervene with respect to perhaps putting some humps on the road in front of the credit union, or to perhaps put a crosswalk there or something, right? Or the zebra crossing or something, some kind of amber light or as the case may be, because when people come into the credit union, they had to cross the road because the parking is on the other side of the road, right? They have some parking inside, and he is saying Tumpuna Road is like another highway. And noticeably, people go at a certain speed on Tumpuna Road. Now, of course, I can't put a hump there because then they're gonna, because of the volume of traffic that traverses Tumpuna Road, is gonna cause a pileup, right? So I can't do that. So at best, we could probably try and see if we could put the crosswalk or whatever. But I was never aware of what the speed limit is on Tumpuna Road. It wasn't until we were having discussions after the event, myself, the contractor, the president, and so on, that the contractor pointed out to me that the speed limit on Tumpuna Road is 35 kilometers. He took a picture. When he was doing his work, he took a picture of the sign and he handed me the phone and he said, look at that. And that is when I noticed the sign outside, just outside the credit union, 35 speed limit, 35 kilometers per hour. How many people know that, right? I have seen some people driving on Tumpuna Road way beyond 35 kilometers per hour. And how many minor roads do we have throughout the country where the speed limit is not known? Because the signage bent up, somebody licked down the sign, ran into the sign how long ago, and it was never replaced, so people don't know. Imagine you going somewhere for the first time. Plenty of us that have parts of this country we've never been to. So you get the opportunity, the occasion to go to a place that you've never been to. You're using Waze or whatever it is. You don't know the speed limit, but you're on a minor road. You're driving, whatever it is. And it just so happens to have a speed trap, and you get catch. Ticket in your way, so you have no idea what the speed limit is. But they're talking about just obey the law. To obey the law, you need to know the law. And a lot of people who get tickets and who commit traffic offenses, they do that because they don't know what the law is. When you took regulations donkey years ago, 20, 25 years now, you driving 30, 40 years, the laws have changed since then. There is no mandatory requirement for you to go and do any refresher course. You do your regulations, you get your license, and then that's it. And the assumption is that you know. How many people go and say, well, let me look at the traffic laws in the country to update myself? So you have no idea what is the speed limit, and you just drive it. Some of these big trucks driving on the highway and figure that the 100 kilometers per hour speed limit applies to them. It does not. People driving on the highway keep left except when overtaken. But you're in the overtake lane and you're driving at 60, like if you're driving Miss Daisy on a Sunday, what is yes, on a Sunday morning. These things could cause accidents. But a lot of people have no idea what the law is. They're accustomed doing things, and sometimes the police pass you. They ain't do nothing. This is not like in the US where you have the highway patrol hiding, but not even hiding, they just park up at the side of the road. And then the next thing you see, flashing lights, and they coming behind you. As I told you all before, I had that experience a couple of years ago when I was running late for my flight, heading from Fort Lauderdale back to Miami Airport. And it was like an hour and a half to my flight. And so I'm driving to the airport, and of course, you know, time caught up on that, right? And yeah, that's when you like to leave things for last minute. And see me gunning it down the highway, the I-95, at 90 or 96 kilometers per hour. Guy trying to make my flight. Now coming up, and I see the police, the cruiser park up at the side of the road. It means, you know, your customer in Trinidad, you could fly past, or you see a vehicle park up on the side of the road, police, and you fly past them, and it's like nothing. So I go in, heading down. And somebody I look in the rear view. And as I look in the rearview mirror, I saw the lights come on. I say, oh, Lord Father, I'm going to catch it here today. I'm sure that's for me. So I keep driving. I stood on a little bit. And sure enough, it was for me. Pull up behind me, turn on the siren and whatnot. So I pulled to the side. And he came and he said, good morning, sir. I said, good morning. He said, are you aware that you were doing 96 and a 65? I said, well, officer, to be honest with you, I head into the airport. I'm not from here, right? I'm heading back to Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm running late for my flight. So he said, let me see your itinerary. Let me see your ticket. Well, I don't normally check in online, but for some strange reason, that one occasion, something told me to check in online. So I had my boarding pass already. I head in and I said, I don't want, for me to reach to the airport, it must just be smooth sailing. So I was able to pull out my phone, and I hand him, I show him the boarding pass. He asked me for my license, right? He blew up the boarding pass on my phone. He said, no, this is a ticketable offense. Eh? He said, but if I give you a ticket, you're going to have to come back here in 1 month to go to court. He said, I'll give you, but it's okay. I will, I'll let you off this time. All right, but just take it down a little bit now. All right, just maintain the speed limit. Okay, and I get off. I said, thank you, officer, and I proceeded. I just barely made my flight. But these things happen, but I'm safe. So you don't know what the speed limit is, and everybody figures the speed limit everywhere is the same thing. No, it is not. But they have all these hefty fines. But they want to tell you that is better than the merit point system. All okay. No problem. Look, the other day a fella driving his Hilux or whatever it is on the bus route. What happened? Speed trap. Not speed trap. Roadblock. And he tried to make a U-turn on the bus route to get away from the police and ran into a maxi, right? Mash up his van, mash up the maxi, and probably injured a couple people in the maxi as well. What are you doing on the bus route? There was a demerit point. 6 demerit points for driving on the bus route. Well, it was 6 demerit points and $2,000. Now, a man might take a chance and say, well, all right, if I can, because you might have a little paper, you have a little dust. If they catch me, I go pay the 2,000. But when it's 2,006 demerit points, and you know to lose your license is what, 12 or 14 demerit points, and a whole 6 demerit points for that one offense, me, forget that. I'm not going on no bus route. I'm not going on no bus route, forget that. Well, now, as an MP, I'm entitled to use the bus route. But I'm just saying in general, that should be thinking. But the UNC say, get rid of the demerit point system. But our beloved Prime Minister, what she said? What did she say? She couldn't care. It's fine by her if you want to drive reckless and kill yourself. And if it is that you end up in an accident on the highway and you die, the first assumption that will come to her mind is either one, you were driving drunk, or two, you were driving recklessly. Not that you fell asleep at the wheel, or not that somebody gave you a bad drive, which happens, right? No, she don't care. The hell with you. Just don't kill nobody else. Let me see here. But that's all. Yeah. Rowley was a dictator. Rowley was a pit bull. Rowley didn't care about nobody. The PNM wicked and evil and oppressive. Let me put that to the test. Let me get this here. Let me see here. Where is it? Just now. Right. Come on 1 second. Let me give you this one first. I ain't gonna play the whole thing because this is the gentleman that I told you all about, that who's back Phillip Road. Listen to this little piece here, right?
Products to make our money. And you know what's going on? The customers have no money in their pocket to buy squat. Good night, Sharon. Bernard. The customers have no money. The corner parlors have no money because the CPEP workers don't work. That's it. The people living on my street in East River, Port of Spain, unemployed. 3 CPEP gangs, unemployed. That is just one contractor. There are people in the hub, unemployed. Oh, look, a bottle of punch and some bottle of hard wine. Put that there. 2 cases of beers, 1 carbon start. Put that there. A case of shandy. Put that there. Or half case of shandy, half case of Malta. Put that there. Still buy presents for the church. Yeah, times hard, but you see, this Christmas, this is not a Christmas. What we getting here is Jackass Street. And I waited long enough and give everybody enough fair chance to perform in a manner that I could see, hey, we on the road to recovery. I not see we on the road to recovery. What I seen is bloggers and people in the public space who 10 years ago, you understand here, because the following practices are people 10 years ago, which means we support our party and we blindly support our party till we there. It's not going so. But they get enough time in my book to start to perform where the people could see a performance. I'm walking down Charlotte Street, hundreds of vendors. Number one line everybody's saying, I spend all my money, my Christmas money that I have, that I scrape up to invest and buy these toys and buy these fruits and buy these veggies, to take a chance to come out here in the Christmas rush to try to sell out some of these products to make our money. And you know what's going on? The customers have no money in their pocket to buy squat. Good night, Sharon. Bernard. The customers have no money. The corner parlors have no money because the CPEP workers don't work. That's it. The people living on my street in East River, Port of Spain, unemployed. 3 CPEP gangs, unemployed. That is just one contractor. There are people in the hub, unemployed. Elders who was living off of that, unemployed. People could say it wasn't a permanent and all of this. Nobody said that they put that back there, but what they put it and when they put it there. For people to have Christmas money in their pocket. Why is it looking like Port of Spain get forgot because stay out young with the seat? These are the questions. Everybody on Charlotte Street saying, I sell nothing. 1 or 2 items. I take a Rima, I can't drop out in a Rima. Say I see raw fire, I ain't see raw fire. You know what I see? People here the live man, we're going on with anti-cams, burial pain out here. But somehow in this country, we're not supposed to say that. When people say pain, the same people who have a voice to go there and vote for all it to be this. Somehow we can't say we're bothering them. But if this means I had to cut ties with the UNC tonight, but I got to cut ties with the UNC. And for all those who intend, I ain't about to cut in it. I mean, let's let you know one time Philip Edward Alexander. Don't go there. You're doing your best trying your little thing. I let you know one time. Because you seem to be the Minister of Defense for everything that anybody I like. Don't go there with me. I playing it with you. I entitled to speak my fucking opinion. And last time I checked, when I went under the label boss, you wasn't there.
He was heel on heel with Philip. Right? Cost the PNM up and down the place. Where's that time? PNM this, PNM that. Hear him now. That's one. We're going again. Oh, they came out today. Oh boy, did they come out today.
Travel with me to
Yes,
Trinidad.
let's go again. Where is he? Let me get this one here.
Good night, Trinidad and Tobago.
This one is labeled
I would like
Kamalaya
some
at it
university
again.
supporters to answer me this question, and I would love to get a straight, honest answer, please. So let's break it down. This is in regards to the new road traffic fines that the government has implemented starting from January 1st. Now, this is about the second time that they have upped these fines. They did it already a couple of months or a couple of weeks ago. And they came and they doubled up everything now by 100%. Now, some of you might have the perception or the idea that the government needs money. And the only way that the government can generate money is through taxation and ticketing people in the streets. You see, this is the exact same reason that we voted the PNM out. When Kamala said that there will be no new taxes, what she said, that she's going to done away with the demerit point system, we decided to vote for her. Now, look at what's happening. They're doing worse than what the PNM did with their demerit point system. Now, some of you are thinking, well, maybe if you don't break the law, then that wouldn't affect you. You would not be ticketed. Wrong again. You could be the best law-abiding citizens, and Kamala said it herself. She said that there's some wicked police officers out there who just wants to share a ticket. Your car could be in optimal, perfect working condition, and you will still get a ticket. Some of you might say, go and challenge it. Well, challenging a ticket is going to consume and take up a lot of your time. You're going to have to take time off from work, etc., to go to court to contest these tickets. So when the government of the day do things like this, they're leaving the window open, the door open, they're leaving room for police officers out there who just love giving people tickets. And I'm speaking in standard English for you guys, plain as simple, so you can understand what I'm saying. There are some bad police officers out there. While there are a lot of good ones, there are the bad ones who just love sharing tickets. And when ticket sharing season starts, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to look for every single little thing that is wrong with your vehicle. Sometimes your vehicle, nothing wrong with it, but they want to give you a ticket because guess what? Last year, some of them got awards and accolades for sharing tickets.
This year.
What do you think is going to happen now when ticket sharing season starts? So to the people who say that the government needs money, the government needs to raise taxes in order to generate revenue to run the country. Let me ask you a question. When Imbert was implementing all these taxes and raise gas 5 or 6 times and bring property tax and you name it, weren't you all the same people against it? So what has changed? My tune has changed now. You all were against Imbert implementing new taxes. You even started to call him Taxbert. But this government, you all seem to have no problem with them implementing all these new taxes and all these new road fines. Why? Why is that? So please, give me an honest answer. You all really think that a government taxing and ticketing the nation will bring about prosperity for its citizens? You all really think so? You all really think that this country do not have money? You think a government would want to run a country that doesn't have money, that is bankrupt? You need to stop believing the lies and start thinking for yourself. Like I said before, it seems like we left the pot and jumped into the fire.
Don't say that.
Because for the last 8 months or so, I honestly believe that these people making Imbert look like a philanthropist. Like he's such a giving, such a benevolent human being. The amount of taxes that they have implemented and double up on, it's really ridiculous. And there are people out there right now starting to feel the pinch, starting to feel the pain. Every single day, people come up to me and complain. They lost their job. They voted the UNC. They didn't expect this to happen. They're sorry that they vote UNC. Hell, I even thinking today, give me back the demerit point system and PNM. Because what this present government is doing right now is above extorting the citizens.
What you say?
I want you all to understand what I'm saying here. We didn't vote for that shit. We voted for something completely different. The woman that we seeing on TikTok speaking about property tax and no new taxes and demerit point system and creating jobs. Where's that woman now? Because the Prime Minister that we have currently in office is a completely different person from the one that was speaking on the podium during the elections. A lot of citizens in Trinidad and Tobago are against this double up on all these traffic fines and tickets and taxes. I even heard they touch the ports again. They double up the duties on the port as well. At least so I'm hearing. This is madness. This will bring about great suffocation among the citizens in the country when the price of everything raised. This is crazy. So I want the UNC supporters to please answer me honestly. Do you all really want to pay more in taxes? Do you all really want the traffic fines to double up and triple up? Do you think that is in your best interest? And when Imbert was doing it, you all was against it. Why are you all supporting Kamala now when she's doing the exact same thing or even worse? Please leave your answer down in the comment section below because I'm fed up. I'm tired. I've had it. I can't do this no more. You just need to stop.
The good thing he's UNC. He's the next one of them. Cost the PNM up and down the place. Worst to say about the PNM for the last couple of years. Yeah, this was one of the most popular activists. Here we see now, he's at the point where bring back the demerit points and the PNM. He said it. You see if it's a PNM person, it's UNC person say that. Not PNM. And have quite a few more like that. I mean, I played for you all just now, Jason X. I just a little piece, but he said quite a bit more, right? All the people who he told vote for the UNC, support Yellow. You'll get through. He talk about Warrior Princess in Sangre Grande. You all remember when Stuart Chung went up to Sangre Grande to walk with the PNM candidate, Roger Monroe, and there was a woman who came and accosted Roger, and she have questions to ask, and she want answers and all of that, and she asking questions on behalf of the youth, and Stuart had to intervene, right, on Roger's behalf. You all remember that? That woman, and according to Jason X, she has been blacklisted by the UNC because now she's advocating for employment for the youth. She was among those who told the young people, yellow is the code. When UNC wins, everybody wins. You all remember the videos with Wayne Sturge? Went up in Grande and he promised these young people, don't worry, you get work for them in the army and all kind of thing and whatnot. And, you know, they're still waiting. Still waiting. Nothing. Salt. And they get even worse now because some of them whose parents had a little job under the PNM, but the PNM tried to help to save by extending the contracts of the CPEP contractors. It wasn't about benefiting PNM contractors because it had a lot of UNC contractors in CPEP too. And they say all kind of thing about Paris. Oh, they should lock up Paris and his fraud and all kind of thing, and he tried to thing and the board and the CEO and all of that. And why was it done? To benefit the same citizens who Jason next tell us about. It's pain. Pain. Let me give you all an example here, right? Okay. So I'll just say these things. Let me get it here. 1 second. Right. Just now. Where is it? Let me get it here. Hi, good night. You are giving out hampers. I am really in need of help. I'm a single mother of 2 girls. This was Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to you. Good morning. In need of a hamper. Do you all have any more? Who's this other one? All right. So we'll get the other one here. It just keeps coming and people keep asking for help. And another one says, good night, Mr. Romain. I saw you all were distributing hampers. Can I get one, please? We'll respond to these folks because my office was closed last week. So we'll respond to them tomorrow and see how we could assist. But when we told you all, since 2018, I was telling all, you know, UNC ain't no good. Well, you ain't listen. How that 10% working out for you all? You get advance on your 10% on your back pay, right? You don't know when you're getting the rest. How you gonna get it? They give you a reduction in the cost of super by $1 and they take it back. So you save, even if you go to the minister say, you'll save about $50 each time you fill up at the gas station. So let's assume you fill up 4-5 times for the month. You save about $250. You even get to enjoy that. Because what the minister said, if your landlord increase your rent as a result of the landlord surcharge, what to do? Find someplace else to live. You have choices. And all it in riot. When he said, if the banks increase your fees as a result of the asset levy, go to another bank. Open an account with the credit union. You have choices. You all didn't riot. When he announced in this document that they were going to increase the fees on about 4 traffic offenses from 0 to between 5 to 15,000, you all didn't riot. He said, well, all right, well, they riot. I might as well increase it on a few more things. So now they increase it on several things. When he announced in the budget that he was going to increase duties on several duties on the port by as much as 100%, you all didn't riot. So he said, well, I'm going to do some more. All the things that they said they were going to increase. And he tell you why they need to increase it. It's in this document here. All they didn't riot. So he didn't say it out loud. He said, well, since the UNC supporters supporting, well, okay. And they defending. So let me do it. We have the support. Let me give you another example. We're going again. Where is it? Let me get it here. All right. I'll go on the page, but just now. Right. A man by the name of Kamal. I wouldn't say the whole name. He was one of the many people who commented on the Douglas Politics video this morning where he trying to defend the increase in the fines. Anil, I usually look at your doubles and coffee segments and don't comment. But you see this one? No way, brother. Don't try to justify this. And he puts in caps. I am a supporter of the UNC. But at this point, my support has reduced. Madam Prime Minister, during the election campaign, you said the PNM was wicked and those traffic fines were too high and it puts a burden on the citizens and now the fines are doubled. Come on, Anil, don't try to justify this. People voted the UNC in government because we wanted better. This is not better, my brother. There's no PNM saying that. Another one who goes by the name of Ryan, he says, no amount of justification can be accepted for this. That was a screenshot, right? I'm going to pull up the I ain't going to play it. I don't want to hear it. Just like I know you all don't want to hear him either. But I will just read a few of the comments. As I told you earlier, they cussed that. Now, we don't want to hear you. Silence. Let me just go into the right. Let me get it here. That's not. Someone says, imagine you check your lights before leaving, then it blow on your journey and you bounce up a roadblock. Best I sit behind my car and drive like a game. Or you're driving down the highway and a stone from a truck's unsecured load chips your windscreen on the black part. You can't see from the inside or license plate. You must immediately stop and call a wrecker. Yes, because if you bounce up traffic wardens down the road on your way home, now happen, you know. They may want to hear, well, it just happened. Ticket in your waist, $2,000. They didn't believe you. Have proof? You better get a dash cam to show what it just happened. And maybe they might give you a ease. Otherwise, they may want to hear that. Take your ticket. Another one says, all well and fine, but there are some fines where the description of it has gray areas, meaning it's using the discretion of the police to make that judgment of whether you were not rather than what is fact. And on another note, can you clarify the reason for the rise on custom duties taking place next year on top of the 7% government tax? Is the 7% going to be removed anytime soon? Very good question. When the PNM implemented the 7% online tax to save or to preserve the country's foreign exchange because it started to dip then, the UNC supporters come on, when you're oppressing the poor. Have we seen a reduction in online purchases? In fact, many of the brick and mortar stores who have been interviewed by the media over the last couple of weeks with respect to how Christmas sales was coming, they complaining people have shifted to online shopping and the brick and mortar stores are starting to feel it. And the mega malls is drawing the crowd. Gulf City Mall had very nice decorations and attracted people, and people went there. East Gates, the new malls and stuff, attracting people, right? All of these courier services that have sprung up all over the place. Why do you think that is? Because there is business. I saw a video showing WebSource in the area to come and collect your stuff. You see people day before Christmas. The amount of people was inside it because everybody and the dog have credit card and everybody shopping online. They couldn't give two hoots about the fact that every purchase that you make online, it is in US dollars and the bank has to find the US dollars to satisfy that liability. You couldn't care less because the bank gave me a limit and I went to use it. But the 7% online tax that the UNC said was wicked and evil and oppressive and draconian. It's still there. 8 months into office. 8 months. They bring legislation to take away your chunk pension. They bring legislation to get rid of the Revenue Authority. They bring legislation for fireworks. They bring legislation for stand your ground law. They bring legislation for to extend the state of emergency. All of these things. But up to now, no legislation to remove the 7% online tax. You feel like bringing any legislation for that? Wait, that is revenue. We increase in fines. And the country's foreign exchange position has reduced. Hence the reason we were downgraded by Moody's, because Moody's not seeing any improvement anytime soon. And with Nutrien leaving our shores, that is less foreign exchange coming into the government's coffers. All right? So Moody's is not optimistic. Standard & Poor's is not optimistic. But UNC supporters are only optimistic. You'll have a magic one. You're expecting up north, the head of up north to do like what he did in Argentina and drop 40 billion US and all their coffers, or 20 billion and say, hey, hold that, for being so cooperative with respect to Venezuela. That's what they're hoping. That for your corporation and for costing the PNM, I'll get 20 billion US and we pay off all our debts and we'll be happy. Okay, if that's the hope, keep hope alive. Meanwhile, your great leader continues to anger our CARICOM brothers and sisters, so much so that in Antigua Barbuda, we now have government officials calling for a boycott of Trinidad and Tobago's manufactured products in their country. And the supporters at the UNC who feel they're so bright, talking about, the US is Trinidad and Tobago's largest trading partner. Yeah, well, CARICOM is the second largest. And why is the US our largest trading partner? Not in terms of the volume or the variety of products they buy from us. It's simply because of the main product, which is the energy sector, when you look at the dollar value. But from that perspective, but as I said before, how often do you see Trinidad and Tobago's manufactured products on the shelves in US grocery stores? You do not. Maybe I go into the wrong. I have been to several Walmart outlets, and I am yet to see Trinidad and Tobago products. I see products from Grace Kennedy in Jamaica. I see stuff from Colombia, Dominican Republic. I hardly ever see, I never saw anything from Trinidad and Tobago. See, but except that one time, I think I went in one store and I saw Cricks. That is about it. The majority of our manufactured products goes to CARICOM. And when we have a government official, no less than a government official, this is not the ordinary man who is treated. This is a government official in Antigua and Barbuda who is calling for a boycott of Trinidad and Tobago's manufactured products. You see it, you go to the grocery and you see anything, pick up, read the label, and if you see made in Trinidad and Tobago, put it back down. Leave it there. Do not buy it. And all the supporters of the government who say, well, they have a choice. Where else they'll buy from? Hello? You have Colombia. You have Brazil. You have Costa Rica. The Dominican Republic. All of these places have things to sell. All right? They have things to sell. And I'm sure in some cases probably cheaper. Because we've seen it on our shelves. Go and look at the corned beef, for instance. Pick up and watch and see where corned beef is manufactured. A lot of it. Things like that. So if we have it on our shelves, you don't think they could buy it? As Gaston Brown pointed out, over $1.1 billion US of trade done last year between Trinidad and Tobago and CARICOM. We so desperately need US. They say we don't need them. They are unreliable partners. And we'll figure what. I saw a video. I follow this guy on Facebook. He's Guyanese, but he lives in New York. And he's spending every now and again, he comes back home to Guyana, and you have massive stores in Guyana, and he's showing all the different products. And a lot of the products on the shelf is not from us. Right? You have a lot of stuff from, you're seeing brands, Costco brands, Kirkland, and all of these different things, member selection and all of that in these stores. Okay? So if all feel they need us so badly, all they need to do is to make that shift. And then that's it, crap or smoke our pipe. So that even if in 5 years' time, you have a new government in place, they will now have to come and repair 4 to 5 years of damage. Jamaica just handed over chairmanship of CARICOM to St. Kitts and Nevis. So they reach S. What comes after S? T. So it's only a matter of time before Mrs. Prasad Bisesa is supposed to assume chairmanship of CARICOM. And all the while you're pelting out all of this talk and, oh, CARICOM is not a reliable partner, and you okay. When we assume the chairmanship, probably the next round or 2 rounds, you're going to put Sean Sobers in your place. You're going to put Ralph Maraj. Because let us make no mistake, these CARICOM leaders, while they may not say it in public, because unlike Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, they are not looking for any sort of to make any sort of diplomatic faux pas by saying things in public without any regard, because some of them plan to be in office beyond 2030. Perhaps Mrs. Prasad Bisesa has assessed the lay of the land and say, well, you know what, even if she's so desirous, health-wise, she may not be able to do another term. In fact, recently, she spoke about, albeit on one occasion, about succession planning and who's to come after her. All right, even though I see Philip put out a post talking about he will ensure that Kamala gets at least 2 terms. Really? You are God, Philip? Prasad Bisesa tell you she'll be 78 in 2030. 78. Really? You can't be serious. But, you know, I wait with bated breath to see how that's going to work out. All right? Let's see how that is going to work out. when she becomes chairman. Because so far, her dealings with her CARICOM colleagues have not been good. And as I was making the point before, I am sitting behind closed doors. They're talking about government of Trinidad and Tobago, and not in the best of ways. Not in any flattering way at all. Okay? We had two elections recently, and or three, since Mrs. Pusabi-Sessa has become Prime Minister. She attended the inauguration of none of these Prime Ministers. Only sending representatives. What does that say? But yet still, okay. Talking Rita, we don't know what happening, and now she comes to tell her, behave all yourself, talking to you all like children. If you don't behave well yourself, I'll ban fireworks. If you don't behave yourself, you could lose your visa. If you don't behave yourself, it's this. And if you don't behave yourself, it's that. Since you don't want to listen and you figure you're taking my kindness for weakness, and my leniency, and my compassion for weakness, well, no problem. I will increase the fines. Harden the punishment for you. Because all the who here will feel. Okay? So no more going kneel long in the corner. Bring the belt. Licks. But Rowley was the dictator. Rowley don't care. Rowley wicked and evil. The PNM this and the PNM that and the PNM and the PNM. Hold 1 second. Let me just get a couple more. No, we don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you. 500 comments, right? In the 6 hours since he posted this. Going again. Good morning, Mr. Roberts. We have to agree to disagree this morning. Train the police, traffic wardens, and license officers to do their work professionally. If someone just bounced their vehicle and just one of the headlights broke, a tow truck is needed. No sign, how would I know it's no entry? Traffic laws must be taken seriously by all drivers. All those fines didn't have to climb Mount Everest. Rashad, I fully disagree with inspection fine until all roads fully fixed and functional. Another one, I cannot agree with all of this. These trucks always throw in stones and pebbles. If you get a chip or crack, I already had to find money to change it, and if I can't get a replacement right away, it's ticket. Then police don't want to hear pressure to find a windscreen or you're getting paid next week. So true. Another one. So how much warnings and discipline does government need to fix roads and to train officers to use their discretion in roadblocks? A light bulb doesn't have an expiration date. How much warnings have to be given for government to fix license in office? Another one. Listen, Anil, when an MP, PS, police, or member of government break traffic laws, I don't want to know the cop coming to write off a ticket or bail them out on the spot because of connections there. Now, I'll mention this name. Asha Ramlakan. Why am I mentioning Asha's name? Asha and I have clashed on many an occasion, right? Because she's one of the staunchest defenders of the UNC. Anything they do, she could see no wrong in it. She have a plaster for every saw and then some. But hear what she says now. Nah, Anil, we are taking this one. I could understand increased fines for serious offense like drinking and driving, not a brake light and windshield crack. You should have stayed quiet on this one. If somebody like Asha Ramlakan could say that, right? If she, I mean, I have never seen this person speak like this. She defends, and I'm sure some of you all in the chat here would be familiar with her on Facebook, right? They should give her a medal for defending the UNC. And for her to come out and say, nah, Anil, we are taking this one. Tells you a lot. 8 months in office. Well, you still have 4 years and 7 months to go. 4 years and 7 months to go. Another one says, so why you wasn't saying discipline, discipline, discipline when the other party put the demerit points? Another one says, I'm not justifying breaking the law. The fines are too damn high. Those same fines you all spoke out against when you were in opposition. Another one says, this Mr. Mahabir, while you all don't just give motorists the electric chair for all the traffic fines and call it a day. The average man just barely surviving as is. I got a $1,500 ticket for driving 62 kilometers by using St. Madeleine Pond. That's 5 days construction work, hard labor. That can't be justice. Bandits walk free because a witness afraid to testify. Is that justice? Nothing wrong with traffic fines, but it's getting ridiculous. You all behaving like all police are fair and honest. Do you know if a police get a blowout from his senior, the motorists have to pay the price? Another one, Daniel. Nah, Anil, hold the L on this one. This is revenue collection disguised as public road safety. With the demerit point system, you could suspend and even jail lawbreakers, but only with a fine. Just pay and be on your way? Nah, man. Another one says, Mr. Rambali, the problem I have is the hypocrisy of the UNC when in opposition versus when they're in government. Don't get me wrong, I am grateful that the PNM did not win in April. Otherwise, we would have been sanctioned. You know where you get that from. However, you all need to lead by example. If you all could not have met the promise of the 10% increase, then don't promise it in elections, because it's directly because of that increase that the government is now increasing tax on landlords, electricity increase, custom fee increase, NIS increase, ban on crypto, increase on alcohol, increase in fees, and traffic penalties, and the list goes on and on and on. Another one says, Anil, this is the first I disagree with you. We need money to fix car, parts, and labor. We need better road conditions. Sometimes you just need time to fix what's broken. I got a $1,000 ticket for a $5 bulb. Had I known, I would have fixed it. Ticket should be given citation to fix, repair, and bring back with receipt to station. Failure to return with receipt and repairs fine will be effective. So this thing about discipline, etc., is some bullshit. These fines are raping the population. Plus, you made a promise about ticket fines and never delivered. That is plain hypocritical. Another one, Mr. BDC. Anil, as a UNC supporter, I am not a blind supporter. I telling you, you defending crap this morning. It has no amount in fines that can force anyone to obey the law. And if they don't want you to pairing it with sports, but if you have a well-disciplined with all the gears, but the swimming pool have a leak, and every 2 laps, hold on the pool, have to refill or the sprinter fully, he kind of confused. You guys know the dilapidated state of the PNM left the roads in, as well as the country. But talking about smooth tire and defective vehicles, get real. Don't put icing on BS to try and make it taste good. Because I never see someone in a high-end vehicle getting a ticket or pull over. All they need to give the country time to heal, not continue where the PNM left off. Another one says, I follow and I am a hardcore supporter of this government at the most respectable manner. However, what is the main reason for doubling the fines? So dramatically done and without any notice, but as a citizen of TNT, I will follow the law as I've always been doing. There is no place for the slimmest of errors, I understand. Let's hope that this goes through the entire representative. Wow, boy. Plenty of them. Mr. Anil, this is Mr. Rampasad here. Sir, now that you have found a new way in taxing drivers and all that revenue comes to hand, at least make the roads worthy enough so we can be disciplined. Mr. Ramdan, why you didn't talk so when PNM was in power and raising the fines? Mr. Rahman, getting a fine for being just 1 kilometer per hour over the limit is ridiculous. Most speedometers don't show your exact speed. In fact, international standards often allow a 10-kilometer leeway to account for things like tire wear and mechanical differences. While I have no problem with higher fines for dangerous driving, the government should really consider a buffer to keep it fair for everyone. Mr. Durbal says, better I buy a tractor and drive then. Don't have to worry about road conditions. I saw another person say, well, just now we had to take Keith Scotland advice and buy a bike. Rihanna says, Anil, there is no justification for having fines for going over the speed limit from 1 to 5 kilometers per hour. Totally foolish and unjustifiable. Nobody knows when a bulb will blow or a stone will crack their windscreen. You want to rehabilitate the taxi drivers of society, the criminals in prison. All well and good and fair. But why can't there not be a system for first and second offense before getting charged outright for some of these offenses that were listed? When police, parliamentarians, and prisons flying through traffic, I don't fly through no traffic, get yourself, like bats out of hell on the road, will they be getting charged too? Law is law. You cannot claim the previous administration was doubling down with a fine and the merit points and yet come and double up on the same fines. Make it make sense. You all did no better than here. Well, bye. Another one says, and when they put you in charge of a ministry, discipline requires that you monitor what's going on in that ministry. Another one says, fines too ridiculous, bulb low while on the road. All sort roads are really tracks. UNC had a problem with the PNM, same policies. Who charges the police with defective vehicle? Potholes on every corner are more dangerous than all what you lay out here. I think you all get the picture, right? Most of the people here that I am quoting are UNC supporters. Anil, I have to disagree with you on this one. On the campaign trail, this is Mr. Budu Singh. Kamla spoke against the exorbitant traffic fines and point system. To come now and increase the fines by 2, well, you're not looking too good here. My concern is a blown bulb. A bulb could blow anytime. I want to hear you justify this fine for bulb, which got blown on your journey into a roadblock, but was good when you started the journey. Another one. I support the UNC, but decisions taken in the dark, I don't. Wasn't it the Prime Minister who said traffic fines were too high and overnight without a notice, these fines jumped out in the midnight? When all were celebrating Christmas totally unaware, that borders on deception. But we tell all of these people are deceitful. This is one instance I will not support this government. It came like a thief in the night. Fines, yes, but some went overboard. Mr. Mohammed says the merit points was only affecting the lawbreakers too. Tell me, remove the merit points but double the fines? What a difference. All the same taxing people to make money. You think only lawbreakers will face fines? If a warden don't like you, they will fine you. So be real. It is Trinidad we live in. People vote for change. We got exchange. All right. Mr. Sujatan, Anil, certain fines I agree with, but a man bulb blows on you, going to charge him 1,500? Your campaign was based on reducing charges, but you all doubled it. I will call it as hoodwinking the population. Don't tell us about discipline. Promises broken. Not everything is to be doubled. But I thought they said promises made, promise kept, promise delivered. Mr. Ramcharan, same campaign about high ticketing offenses from the previous regime, and now double. A lot of citizens are upset. I think you all get the point there, right? Let me touch on one more thing here. The hypocrisy again. I had to talk about it. Former Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Sudratan Rambachan. Right? So apparently he has a problem too. So there were 2 posts. I will touch on this one. So there's a picture of Ravi Ratiram, the Minister of Agriculture, handing a coconut to Khadija Amin, the Minister of Local Government. And Surur says, look what being ministers come to. Sharing a coconut at the diplomatic center. How impressive. A photo up for a coconut? Let me hear the costume now. I wonder if these ministers realize how ridiculous they look. Come on, Prime Minister, can you advise them, or are they following your example? Suruj? Yes, from January 1st, custom fees will double. Who will absorb the increases? Not the importers, nor the customer. The government is indirectly increasing taxes. Food prices are going up. Citizen security is under pressure, but ministers are enjoying photo ops. Suraj Rambachan said that. That's no one. Right. A reality check. Who has the power? Makandal Daga used to say, we are the government. The elected have been hired to serve by their own choice. I'm not going to read the whole thing because there's a whole epistle he wrote here. But let me get this here. Just no. The people of the world, right? No, just no. Before reading the next section, keep in mind that my submission is not an attack on the UNC government, but it is in the nature of supportive criticism. Supportive criticism means you compliment and criticize, but you also submit feasible recommendation. For once, put aside fanaticism and help to grow the government along a pathway to sustainable success. Suraj, are you accusing UNC supporters of being fanatics? In our own country, we are caught up in political rhetoric, while crime, unemployment, economic stagnation, cost of living, cost of housing, healthcare, provision of utilities, like it or not, action to alleviate remains at an unacceptable level. I am disgusted by political fanaticism, which says that the government had only been there for 8 months. What? Is this Suraj Rambachan? Another one of the defenders of the UNC is now criticizing UNC supporters and calling you all fanatics? I will let you know, Suraj is not a member of the PNM. He does not have PNM membership. He has not applied for PNM membership. Okay? I just put in that out there. I know that. But at the same time, the things that could be done to bring relief to frustrated people are not being given the quality of attention desired. I had great faith in the appointment of Roger Alexander, but he has made a difference. To say that the murders have decreased is not to say that the murders have decreased is not good enough, nor does it say that crime has been reduced. A TV show host does not make a minister of Homeland Security. Oh, it took you 8 months to come to that realization, Suraj? The people are not buying that in the face of a bold daylight robbery, robberies, the home invasions. People are not feeling safe. I don't expect a policeman or policewoman to be on every corner, but I expect to witness a visible plan that suggests urgency from the police. Photo ops of the PM giving repaired vehicles is not cutting it with the population. The police management should instead be hauled over the coals for vehicle maintenance and responsibility. Instead, we are sending the wrong message by just fixing and returning. I wonder if Kamala read this. In terms of food security, distribution of a few hundred coconut plants is a joke. Another photo up, but nothing to show that there is any determined plan to boost food production or to link production to processing. Where is the plan to increase meat production, to reduce the importation of feed for pigs and chicken that will impact on foreign exchange? The Ministry of Agriculture remains dormant, always experimenting but can't produce like Guyana soya. Where are the fish farms, the sweetwater shrimp farms, the hydroponic farms? What is really being done to bring back into production cocoa and coffee estates? In local government, what has been done to improve productivity? People continue to work a maximum of 2 to 3 hours at a rate of between $80 to $100 per hour. Photo up of the minister arriving to work on a Sunday is being laughed at. We need substance. Where is the audit of every corporation to see where they are resource-wise? 8 months gone. Can the minister produce such an audit? How do you manage a ministry if you don't know what you are managing? Where are the majority of local government staff after 2:30 p.m., both at the head office and in the corporations? What, Suraj? In public utilities, the minister can shout as loud as he wishes, but we have dealt with the real problems in WASA, but have we dealt with the real problems in WASA? The delays in the new service division, the exaggerated costs of WASA connections that bear no reality to the real costs, the poor work that continues to be done by contractors, poor quality of road restoration after repairs. And what about customer service at customer service centers, where you sit long hours for attention, whether at WASA in San Fernando or TNTEC in Sapero Street? Try, Mr. Minister, and test your customer service starting with the telephone operators. We're trying to get through to personnel. It's generally rotten except for a few dedicated ones. There are only 2 ministries I have noticed showing potential and change: health and works and infrastructure. The environment is sorely needed. A good cleanup of the hospital's physical environment is sorely needed. Money is a problem. Money will always be a problem. But what is evident is that the government has to look for creative ways to finance growth. After all the dressing up in Islamic way we saw during the Middle East expedition, what has been the follow-up? For example, is a team of investors due in Trinidad? And if so, what immediate projects can be finalized? I personally do not think that the government understands the state of the economy and the dangers of increasing unemployment. There is much more to say, but frankly, it's tiring, mentally and emotionally. Now I await the attacks, the abuse that will come from those who don't wish to see nor hear the truth. But let me remind you, you don't help your party and government by being blind supporters. You help them by letting them know how you feel and think. You defend them, and of course, and if the party leadership chooses to listen, everyone will win. That's Suraj Rambachan. Suraj saying that. Okay. And there are many more posts like this that I could read for you all. In the new year, even when life hurts, don't stop moving forward. Stay hopeful, stay balanced, and face challenges with courage and a smile. Well, it can't be serious. Really, Suraj? Bunch of jokers, yes? I'm going to play one more thing for you. So as I get it, I will play it. All right? Some of them stood out to me, and I felt the need to, where is it?
No blasted body in this country is going to account for that. Yeah, say blasted.
I just remember they recently made a big thing about opening the Cuba Children's Hospital, right? So we're supposed to see an improvement in the healthcare sector in this country. Oh yes, the Cuba Children's Hospital is the be-all and end-all. Now, no worries. I play a little something here from Marlon Hopkinson a couple days ago.
Granny Punks, you know, when I used to be on the tape, every year I would wish Granny Punks a happy birthday. Well, earlier this year, no, that's not for, that's what they call her, Granny Punks. So, good morning to the Fields family and condolences to you all. But she died a few days ago. She was 100 years. Earlier this year, I attended the 100th birthday for Granny Punks, and I met her then. Over the past few days, well, she became ill. I understand that she suffered a heart attack. She was taken to the Port of Spain General Hospital. A number of tests would have been done and so on. And Granny Punks, according to the report that I got, she remained on a chair for 2 days at the Port of Spain General Hospital. A 100-year-old lady who would have contributed to the Belmont community, who suffered a heart attack. She was kept on a chair for 2 days at the Port of Spain General Hospital. Then she was sent to the St. James facility, and that's where she died. That's where she died. Yeah, that's the kind of country that we live in Trinidad and Tobago. And again, no blasted body in this country is going to account for that. Yeah, say blasted.
100-year-old heart attack, taken to Port of Spain General Hospital and sat on a chair for 2 days. 2 days before she was sent to St. James, right? Where she died. Marlon Hopkinson just told us about that. 2 days on a chair. 100 years old. But you all have plenty to say about the PNM. When you go to the hospital, they can't get a bed, and they can't be on there, they're waiting there, and then casualty, and they sit down on a chair for how long? 8 months. And the supporters will still come and tell you. So what do you expect? It's only 8 months. PNM was there for 10 years. You expect the government to fix everything the PNM doing in 8 months? Well, they said they would fix crime in 6. They told you they would give you a crime plan in 6. So they makes it 8 months since the general election. Tuesday will make it 8 months since they've been in office. They love to say, promise made, promise kept, promise delivered. But what are the promises that they are focusing on, and how has it benefited you? When they took away Stuart Young's pension, did that benefit you? Did it improve your life? Did it enable you to have a better Christmas this year? You think all the CPAP and URP and forestry workers and all of them would fire? The people whose contracts were not renewed, the people who lost their jobs at HDC and who lost their jobs at WASA and so on. You think any of them care that they took away Stuart Young pension? Did that improve their lot? They tell you you save $87,000 a month. Okay, you save $87,000 a month. Did that money go to these people? No. We heard about all who had bus route pass under the PNM. That help you all? The legislation that they brought for fireworks, that helping you all? They putting food on your table? Some people dreaded when school open next week, on the 5th. I think it's on the 5th. Because some of them don't have money to pay passage to send the children to school. Some of them have no money to give their children to buy anything to eat. Okay? Some of them struggling. Don't know how they're making ends meet. They're happy that school is on vacation, so the little money that they're saving for passage, that could do something. But they are going into the new year. But for the same time last year, thousands, tens of thousands of citizens who will be going into 2026 unemployed. They came into 2025 under the PNM employed. Thousands of them. And when the election bell was rung, and many of them say, finally, after years of call election now, the election call, we go show the PNM. But didn't know that when you got up bright and early and you had your breakfast and say your prayers and you marched to the polling station and dip your finger in the red ink and you take the X and you ram it up to your elbow, right? Ram it. And you put your X next to the rising sun. You didn't know that you were voting for your own demise, your own political, your own economic demise. You didn't know that when you put that X there, you were voting for unemployment. And it was the hard part. All your cussing, the 13 of us, we warned you. We told you all. Stuart came on a platform and he told you all everything that he itemized. He told you all what happened. It happened. All they didn't listen. Because all they were saying, Rowley gave you 4% and he take 47%. And we didn't want to hear nothing else. We don't want to hear nothing about 2010 to 2015. Right? Kamala is the mother of the nation. And she loves us. And things will improve. You all didn't want to hear? Kamala said she would give us 10%. And all they were supposed to get that 10% for one negotiation period. They split it in two. All they only see in back pay. Yes. Now they come to tell all, well, you'll get a piece of the back pay, but we can't tell you when you'll get the rest. All right? But don't worry, you have new salaries coming in from January. But as you remember, your NIS rates going up. And lots of other things going up as well. So a chunk of that pay increase will be going back to the government. I know we see how much that we could save to give all your pay, all your back pay, but probably you'll get your back pay in bonds. When? We don't know. Okay? Because that's all I'll ever see. Me vex, I can't vex with all you know. Because I can't remember the last time I worked for, well, I wasn't working for fixed salary. All right? For many years. So, you're working on 2013, fixed income. I don't think I could do that. But to each his own. I can't fault all you. But at the end of the day, better the devil you know than anyone you don't. Because all I was vexed with Dr. Rowley. All you calling him Bobby Head. Rowley must go where Rowley left before the election. And he gave you all somebody new. Right? You all had a new prime minister. Unfortunately, election was called early. You all didn't really get an opportunity to see how he would have performed as a prime minister. You got a month and a half, and I think in that month and a half, he didn't do too bad. But you all weren't willing to give him a chance. Instead, yeah, we need to stick it to the PNM. And stick it to the PNM, you did. And now, in 8 months, the government that you all are expecting to deliver a veritable utopia and to give you all milk and honey have given you anything but. And people vex at us. We ain't doing enough. And when all you're going to mobilize, and when you're all doing this, and if I win here enough, and all ain't protesting enough, and we shouldn't even be here. We should not even be in this position of having to do all of that. The woman that they lock up under the detention order, Olive Jack. What is going on with her? I saw Suniti Maharaj write an article in today's Express on that, right? And she's calling out the PNM lawyers because she said Olive Jack identified as being a PNM supporter. And when she said what she said that caused her to be detained, it was really in defense of the PNM or whatever it is, right? And we're all the high-profile PNM lawyers, and why did not come in and represent the woman and to bring her matter before the tribunal and all of these different things. Again, but she's asking the very pertinent question. What is going on with this lady? And how many people want to speak out but can't because they're afraid that they too might end up being the subject of a detention order and having to remain behind bars until February the 1st next year when this state of emergency expires. But you all said Rowley was a dictator and the PNM was a dictatorship. But you never had to be concerned that you could come on social media and 2-3 days later, police could be knocking on your door with a detention order to carry you down in the Maria, and you miss Christmas with your family because you spend Christmas inside. Right? And that is where we are at. Where persons have to be very circumspect in what they say. Now, I'm not saying that you should be irresponsible in the things that you say. You need to be very measured, guarded in some of the things that you say. But when it is that you have ministers of government could come on social media and say some of the worst things and no issues, no detention orders for them, right? They could encourage their supporters to say some of the nastiest things, like in the case of the Prime Minister's criticism of CARICOM, and now you have UNC supporters who themselves are attacking CARICOM They went after Ralph Gonzalez. Now they're going after Gaston Brown. Sharing a set of stories about something and Gaston Brown being investigated and all kind of nonsense. How do you think the people of Antigua and Barbuda who support Gaston Brown are going to receive that? How do you think they're going to receive it? They're not going to take it well. Just in the same way as UNC supporters was vexed because Ralph Gonzalez simply said that their leader was misguided. That's all he said. And they were ready to lynch Ralph. But you had the gentleman from the former Senate President of Grenada who described Mrs. Posabi-Sessa as a recent drunk. You all used to say, under the PNM, Trinidad and Tobago is a laughing stock in CARICOM. What are we today? What are we? When people bold have no qualms about saying the worst of things about our Prime Minister. What are we? Are we once again the great example for the Caribbean region? Are we so well respected now? But supporters have nothing to say about that. Is that right? And but meanwhile, they're going to hit all in all their pockets. As the Prime Minister is uncompromising. Uncompromising. You know what I mean? Don't even bother to come on social media and say, as I've seen some of her activists say, Mother, what are you doing? You had to fire the advisor, Mother, and Mother this and Mother that. She don't want to hear all that. You know why? They're in office. That was the ultimate goal, to get into office. And I think as a leader, if you know that you're probably not going to, you're not interested in another term, well, you okay? It is what it is. Let me see if I get this here. Meanwhile, to the people at Tobago, just remember, all these fines apply to Tobago as well, right? These increased fines. Everything that they increase doesn't only apply to Trinidad. It applies to Tobago. And you know who supports the leader of the government that imposing these fines uncompromisingly? Your leader, the current head of the THA. That's his friend. Right? That's his good buddy. So he has said nothing and probably will say nothing about this. His good compatriot, Watson, who has thrown his support behind the TPP, and he too continues to vilify the PNM. I want to tell Ole why the PNM should never come back in power in Tobago and all of that. Understand that he too supports this government. All right? They've all thrown their weight behind this government. The two rubber stamps that you all have sitting down in Parliament on the government side, who just happy to get invited to everything the government have. Just to receive an invitation. Love to vote with the government. Every time it have a debate, attack the PNM, attack the PNM. Yeah, but they said they are not part of the coalition of interests. But they don't speak against the coalition. They vote with the coalition. These fines affect you too in Tobago. You all have a decision to make on January 12th. All of these increased fees and duties on the port is going to affect you all more. Right? Farley told you all, came on the platform and maligned the PNM and tell all you, he talked to Jolene. And Jolene said they identified 2 vessels and she taken it to cabinet. What is the outcome of that? The cabinet make a decision on which vessel they're going to go with? Is Farley any the wiser from the last time when he called Jolene the Tuesday before to tell her that something bothering his spirit? And when things bother his spirit, you know, as Tobagonians, we use language that might not be appropriate. And he want answers. He wanted to get answers about what he was hearing. And he got the answers. What is going to happen come January 12 when the Cabo Star bids Tobago adieu for the last time? Do you all have a replacement vessel? Has one been sourced? But that is not being discussed. No. Christmas is over, so you get back into the hustings. You really come in to talk about that? The next public meeting they have, is he going to come and tell you, well, he called back Jillian? Did he call Jillian the Friday? Or he probably given her time? Maybe he'll call her after, maybe this week, to get an update. He wasn't interested last week. Right? But just understand, they support these things, right? When you always cussing the PNM, how much time licensing officers from Trinidad coming up to Tobago and oppressing Tobago people and only holding us at a roadblock and causing traffic and giving all their tickets. You all were complaining about that. Under the PNM. PNM wicked and oppressive. All they don't want no licensed officer from Trinidad coming up to Tobago to oppress you all. Now they have come to increase the fines. Double. Right? Double the fines. Who did that? PNM didn't do that. PNM didn't do that. So I don't know if maybe they might stop the licensed officers from coming up to Tobago. But there will still be exercises in Tobago. Eh? And you're going to get a ticket. And effective January 1st, you'll pay $2,000 instead of $1,000. So make sure all you have all your money put aside. And when duties on the port go up, remember everything comes from Trinidad and goes to Tobago. So you all pay more in Tobago. So when they increase the duties on the port in Trinidad, it is going to impact you in Tobago even more than it will impact Trinidad. Just remember that. Because it doesn't, you all don't import things directly to Tobago. It comes to Trinidad and then it comes to you all. So you all will be affected even more. So all who get a 10% in Tobago, if you all get a 10%, a bigger chunk will be coming out from your pockets. So when you go to the polls on January 12th, just remember that Fali never supported the PNM. He has declared on more than one occasion the PNM as the enemy. And to the entirety of his tenure while the PNM was there, he made sure to let the PNM know that they were the enemy, whether it was that he disrespected Dr. Rowley by telling him come and dig up his navel string in Mason Hall, mind his damn business. He not taking no advice from Trinidad. When Dr. Rowley and Rohan Sunanan came up to Tobago and wanted to do a tour of Studley Park, and instructions were given to block them and do not let them on the compound, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Works and Transport were blocked. Go all your way. All of the disrespect. So the PNM was never his friend. But he has bent over backwards to accommodate the UNC. How many times Dr. Rowley went up to Tobago when he was Prime Minister? You never saw a video or picture of Ali Augustine going to the airport to meet Dr. Rowley when he came off the plane. But the first trip Kamala made to Tobago, oh yes, he and his entire entourage, all his secretaries were lined up to meet her as she came off the plane to shake hand and bend the knee and to pledge their fealty to the Prime Minister and the UNC. You all made the same mistake in 2010 and handed them the 2 seats. And how did that work out for you? Came back in 2015 and corrected the mistake. Right? And I understand now it's a crime in Tobago to support the UNC. Not the UNC, sorry, the PNM. Right? If you are a known PNM supporter, you're getting blacklisted. Certain people who enjoy friendships with certain business people in Tobago and who are now looking for that support for their campaign because they are PNM, they want to hear you. Nothing to do with you. Roxo. Shamfa lost by 106 votes. And I am certain in her constituency, you had more 106 persons who support the PNM who chose not to come out and vote, who chose to sit at home, and who was vexed for whatever reason. And Shamfa lost her seat. Ayana lost her seat. And the mama girl, I tell her, I think we're going to represent Tobago's interest in the parliament, and our focus is going to be on Tobago autonomy. How much discussions have you heard from the UNC camp about Tobago autonomy? Disrespecting all of they put a radar in Tobago and then tell your chief secretary nothing. And have him like a little loopy dog. Right? They send up Jeremy and Wayne Sturge to mama guy him a little bit. And he feeling good because they send up a high-powered team to meet with me and to discuss. They set up a base close to the radar. Again, he knew nothing about it. Then the Prime Minister come out and say, well, yes, well, we are aware of it and so on and so on. But, you know, that is just a support mechanism for the reader. So what all making a show. But you didn't tell Fali. So almost every Monday morning, he looking like a clown. Knows nothing. Right? Things just being happened in Tobago. But he talking about autonomy and we want autonomy and autonomy. That level of disrespect, you all didn't get it from the PNM. When Fali wanted Tobago Police Service, Dr. Rowley came to Tobago. When he said he wanted to be part of the National Security Council, Dr. Rowley took the National Security Council to Tobago and had a meeting with him. We all see the picture of Fali sitting next to then Commissioner of Police, Earl Christopher, who he said was wearing Balize bloomers, disrespect the Commissioner of Police as well. Dr. Rowley tried to bend over backwards to assist. He said, okay, all I want up Tobago Police Service, that is not practical. But we could see where we can compromise and provide something, you know, so we set up create a certain unit, officers from Trinidad, as the case may be. to be able to assist with that. Right? At every turn, the Bella Airport, a new airport terminal for you all. PNM did that. The Secretary for Tourism said they could take the airport and put it between their leg. She said that. But that terminal, probably better than the Piarco Airport terminal. PNM built that for you all. When Kamala was there the first time, what she did, she gave you all she completed the Scarborough Hospital and she gave you all a gas station. Ask Bernie Jack Gregg. She will tell you. And she find Kamala gave us that, so you shouldn't disrespect Kamala and do bad talk the lady. That she's the best thing since sliced bread. And she come the other day and do what? What she give all there? A license for quarrying. Right? And we applaud that. The UNC have a plan in place, you know. They need to neutralize those 2 Tobago seats because they know those 2 seats are critical for the PNM to get back into office. Because they figured that they have a lockdown on the 19 seats or whatever in Trinidad. So if they could neutralize those 2 seats, it's problems for the PNM to get back into office. But just 8 months. 8 months. And their own supporters cussing them. Their own supporters cussing them more than the PNM supporters. Because they have a lot of PNM supporters who realized the mistake that they made when they chose not to go to the polls on April 28th. And they contributed to us being where we are today. Right? And while they're not coming out on social media to complain, but they're complaining to us in private. Need to do more. And we hear from all here. And we